Hey. Okay, call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. We have two board members out tonight, so we have two alternates. Tom Dibney, Christine O'Brien,
Your first time, we're throwing you to the wolves.
all in.
Welcome to the party.
Are there any changes to the agenda, Jess?
Okay, so you appointed Christine and
Tom?
Tom Dibney.
Tom, did we? Okay. We're just breaking things right in for you.
Mhm.
Okay, that's that. There was one addition to the agenda after it was originally posted, and that is under other business, and it's 4B. It's a discussion regarding case P 0657, which is the High Grove subdivision. And it's a discussion regarding their conditions of approval.
What
That's
subdivision?
Meadowlands, isn't it?
High Grove subdivision. Yeah,
Thought that was
Meadowlands
that
Realty
Meadowlands.
Trust was the property owner, or is the property owner rather.
I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second by Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. All right. So the first case is a continuation of the public hearing from June 20th, case P 2314. Dennis McKenney, agent for New Hampshire DOT and SPN HF.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
While they get squared away at the table, can I ask you guys to do a roll call? It's easier for our minute taker to know sort of who's who.
Is that right?
Roger Sample.
Scott Williams, present.
Bill O'Neill.
Christine O'Brien.
Drew Carter,
Nicholas Bonapane.
Tom Divney.
Okay, thank you.
That's a good idea anyway.
yeah, it is. Hi,
Good evening.
how are you?
Good.
Good,
Yourself?
good, okay, all things considered.
Thank you for your time.
So welcome back. So I think we had met and discussed this last month. We'd sent you away with a couple of requests. And I think when I looked through the files, it looked like you had addressed everything that we had asked for. But we already did the completeness, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, may I just ask a question of Mr. McKinney?
Absolutely.
So the plans that were on the table, are
Yes.
do those reflect the items
Yes,
that I had asked for you to add?
they're copies, hard copies of what I had emailed to the office.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, just checking.
So you'd had some waiver requests that were denied. And it looks like you have now addressed those. The exception of showing the minimum contiguous upland area. Required by zoning ordinance for each lot, excluding jurisdictional wetlands and areas with slopes in excess of 25%.
Was that on the plan and I just couldn't find it?
You look
or-
at sheet 4 of 5, it's the color copy, flip it over to the soil section. No, the color copy.
Okay,
Yes.
this one?
Yes, flip that over and look at the other side.
Oh,
So you'll see a little, so you have your soil types on there.
I don't have a 4.
You can get one of these?
Oh, I got that one.
Yeah, flip it over. There we go.
So you'll see on there that,
This one here.
uh,
Yes.
what is it?
Yep.
So you'll see that the soil types are on there. And there's an acreage and percent of lot area associated with each soil type. There's a drainage class on there. And there's a slope designation, A, B, C, D, or E. And I think it's the E area down in the southwest, excuse me, the southeast corner that's in excess of 25% slope. So I think that addresses a range of questions or answers a range of questions.
This one, I see here on this, it says Mount Major Park. It probably should be called Mount Major Parking Lot because where Roger Street is and Legal Lane, that's known as Mount Major Park. So I just think for cleanliness reasons, it should be Mount Major Parking Lot.
Where is that?
Right
On
Oh, on that.
sheet 4 Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Parking lot.
on his page 1 of 5, it says Mount Major Trailhead Parking. That's a good listing. Yeah, it does.
I see what you're saying.
And where it says, where Roger just said, where it says no name right there, that's basically the start to Mount Major Parking, Mount Major Association.
That's just a Google generated, is that Google generated?
It's a ArcGIS generated
Okay.
data. It comes from the Granite database that the university maintains of all sorts of public information. So there's a soils layer for the state of New Hampshire, and we pull that information off there. So it's,
No, I meant the names that are identified on here where it says like no name, for instance. Was that, where does that come from them as well?
It's right here.
oh,
That Mount Major Park
oh,
is
yeah.
actually
Okay,
approximately right there.
I can't answer that. It might be clear if we've got to revise it to identify the specific parking lots. What if we
It's
just take
just-
no name off there?
That'd probably be.
Because it
appropriate.
doesn't really affect.
It doesn't affect this at all.
No, I think, the important documents are over here as well.
Right. I just want it proper.
All right. So wetlands.
Still the same.
Air conditioners back on.
So it looks like we've gotten those section 7s, F.7 G, H, I taken care of. For the most part, it's stated here, you could not locate the information, but we identified.
Yeah,
that
we just
now.
did. Yeah.
So, so section 7, F7 K added to sheet 3, and that is the site location map. Yep. There that is. The section 7, F.7 E is on sheet 2, huh?
7.
All right, so in the plan review, Jessica, you noted sheet one title block should indicate that it is sheet 1 of 5.
Yes, that's the color coded copy that is essentially two sheets, a proposed and an existing. I thought it was beneficial to the board to color code it so you can see how the lot lines are to be adjusted or eliminated.
Yeah. So I guess the question that I would have is that on this color coded copy, you basically crossed out the 2 in a green marker,
Yes,
written a 1.
yes,
And that happens twice. On the backside, the next one over is 1 of 2, and on this one over here, it says 1 of 2, and then on the
1
other
of
side,
5,
it says
yeah.
1 of 2, 1 of 5. On that side, it says, well, it might be just the same thing on both sides, but
So, yeah, and I'm not sure marking it in magic marker is the answer.
no. Because like on this stack here, I have 2 1 of 5s. And I do in this pack over here, the smaller pack.
well, as I said, one is existing conditions and one is proposed. That's basically a color coded copy of sheet 2, which is the one of the 2 that will be recorded. So it's kind of a housekeeping item or a document that can help the board understand the moving parts.
I think that we can solve as a, when we approve it.
Yeah, I just think that obviously numbering the sheets correctly, we can't have 2 1 of 5s.
Okay, can we just go 1A and 1B or?
Is there a reason why we can't have a sheet 2 of 5 and then 3 of 5? Well, maybe that makes us up into
That would
of
make us
6.
6, right? Wow.
I think just for clarity purposes, I think that makes the most sense. If we basically.
It shouldn't hold you up tonight.
Yeah. I think changing the numbers, 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 3 of 6, 4 of 6, 5 of 6, etc. Makes the most sense. Having 2 1 of 5s is not, that is very confusing,
Especially if it comes to recording.
right?
Well, you can't record the color plan.
No, we realize that,
So
but you're gonna have,
So are
a-
you saying that, which one are you proposing would be recorded?
sheets 2 and sheet 3 are the plans that would be recorded. All the others will reside here in the office.
That jive with your understanding, Jessica?
Yeah, that would have to be. Yeah, just fix it so that it makes sense. So that would be of 6, so it would be 6 plans and
6 sheets.
that we're at.
I think I understand what you're saying, that if we're only recording 2 of these 6 drawings, then sheets 1A and 1B, I'll use your expression, are purely for town purposes.
Right.
Right, but it's still part of the plan.
It's still part, and it's still 6 sheets. I don't want it to be confused 10 years from now, when the next guys go look at it and say there's 5 sheets.
And there's 6.
And they're six. It's supposed to be six.
That's right. But that's an easy fix. Let's just save that labor for conditions,
Yeah.
because that's no sense getting hung up on it now. One thing I see here, I was a little confused at, if I may, Mount Major Trailhead parking, but then it says south 1.7 miles to Jesus Valley Road. I thought the Jesus Valley Road access was curtailed because it went over private land and they don't want all the people running through there anymore.
If I could clarify that, that's a bit of locus information. So if you're driving up Route 11 and past Jesus Valley Road, you know, you've got 1.7 miles to go to get to the trailhead parking.
Okay, or why don't we just give the trailhead parking for lack of a better thing, Mount Major Lane or something like that, and put it on the 911 maps. And then anybody coming in from out of town for mutual aid, because there's a lot of mutual aid that goes up there from time to time when we're hauling people off or it's on fire. That way they can find it easily too. Because I wouldn't want to see people going up Jesus Valley Road because they have shut the door on access through that area. Because that, if you wanted to drive a Jeep or something, that's how you would have gone.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that area. Well, if you provide me the 911 link or
Well,
address.
what you'd do is you would give Jessica a name that you'd like to name it, and then the Board of Selectmen will approve it. And then they'll notify 911. It'd probably be a good thing anyway, you know, just for public safety.
Well, that's for people, like you say, GPS and Mount Major.
Yeah,
And I've had people stop me. You know how to get to Mount Major?
So you're requiring them to get a street sign?
no, I'm not, but I'm just suggesting that. What are your thoughts on that, Jessica?
I mean, I suppose, you know, safety wise, it would be a good idea, but I don't know where.
Over the years, the fire department has
where
been up
is
on that
for
hill
you
a
guys to
lot.
Require that.
So what happens now if there's a 911 call from the parking lot? And I'm not sure how recording that at the Registry of Deeds helps the fire department.
But when it's on the 911 maps, then it's there.
Oh, okay. But you could do that now.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this might be a good time to do it where we're talking about it and it can happen. You know, but it's up to the board. If they want it, fine. If not, then that's fine too.
Are there other locations in town that have 911 addresses that don't have a house or like
Have
a
a
business? Because you get an address when you pull a driveway permit. You get a
They have
number,
fire
you get a
lanes?
911 number.
No, the
from-
fire lanes are wiped out. Those once,
That's
one
why I
911
don't
happened.
know.
I can't picture one off the top of my head, but
Right. That's,
but
That's
what
kinda
would the
my
harm of it be?
I don't know what the process would be for that.
It's
Because
easy. You
there's-
just name it. And then the sign goes up on the end of the street and it becomes the 911 will give it, let's say, whatever the number is, 1250 Mount Major Highway.
I'll have to talk
They'll
to
give it-
Kat in the building office.
Because what we did is also in the fire hydrants, every fire hydrant in town has a 911 address. That way, if someone comes from out of town and we say, take the hydrant at such and such, this is the address for it, they can GPS it and drive right to it.
The building department actually handles the 911.
Yes, that's what I just said. I need to
Okay.
talk to Kat about it.
It's not a big process. But it's up to the board.
Yeah, I
Enough
mean,
said.
I'm not sure, I don't know if we can require that, but we certainly could
Oh, yeah,
recommend it.
we can.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the 911 rules, if there are two buildings on a lot, it has to be 911 addressed.
and if they have no buildings,
Well, they have a little hut there. And a couple of portable johns.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to her because as far as I'm aware is that a number doesn't get issued until you pull a driveway permit. So.
Well, the driveway's there.
Sure of,
The driveway is there.
right, you're pulling a driveway permit because you're building a house or you're
Right,
building a,
but that is a
business.
driveway technically. It's a curb cut. That's probably the better word to use versus driveway. It's a curb cut.
You ought to check, it might already have one,
It might,
because when they came through, every curb cut they assessed it.
I think the applicant should do the research on that to look to
I,
see.
I would
that
just say,
Driveway,
name it and
curb cut.
send her a letter saying we'd like to call it, the road, the Skyway to whatever. If the board doesn't want to do it, then the board doesn't want to do it. I'm just one voice.
Well, I think it just lighten them with the option. The whole thing started over the Jesus Valley
Yeah,
thing. Taking any identification away from that as a possibility to Mount Major, because those people don't want the traffic.
Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any address on when you search it.
you just did.
I did my research.
That was quick.
So what does the board think? And, we can. Any
Sounds to me
thoughts?
like something they can do on their own.
Yeah, they don't need us to, if we just say that we like it, then they can do it and it's done. I
Yeah.
mean, this petition, the Board of Selectmen for the road name, they have to approve it. And,
It's not a bad idea. They can give it a shot. If it's a pain in the butt, they can say, screw it.
Well, that's where I was going with the requirement or the recommendation, and
The recommendation.
right, yeah.
that's where
recommendation.
I was leaning.
Yep.
So the board agree?
Yep. Yep. Or just put it as a recommendation, right?
Yeah, I'm not putting it down as a condition.
Okay.
All right. All right, so I think we tackled the sheet numbering, and the location. We had no other plan comments, department reviews, they had no comments or concerns. Lot configurations, they meet minimum lot size and frontage. Sample deeds have been submitted. Checklist indicated there was no existing mortgage. I think we get down to conditions precedent. We can open this to public at this point if the board is.
Yep. We good, yeah.
Anybody from the public want to speak to this? Hearing none, we'll close the public session. So I will make a motion that the board approve case P 2314 for the New Hampshire DOT and Society of Protection of New Hampshire Forests. The lot line adjustment located map 17 lot 3. With conditions precedent of submission of revised plans in the number required of the subdivision regulations, 5 complete sets. And as well as correction of the sheet numbering.
Could I get some clarity? Is 1A and 1B okay?
I think I'll defer to the board on this one, but I think that I would rather see 1 of 6, et cetera. There are 6 sheets. I think we ought to do 6 sheets.
Okay.
Board?
Agreed.
6 sheets, agreed. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. And condition subsequent as listed. Motion on the table,
I'll second that.
seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh,
I'm not opposed.
you're opposing it?
I just want to get my marching orders clear here. I'm clear on the numbering of the sheets. There was discussion on sheet 4 about whether we want to name it is Mount Major parking lot, but I didn't hear
I think we're willing to let that just slide only because that's the way that map came to you, because 4 and 5, I think, are both shown that way.
Correct.
okay,
Um,
all right,
as long as the rest of the sheets identify it as the parking area, which they do.
okay, all right. And then the 911 issue is a recommendation.
Correct.
Yes,
So,
no requirement.
so if I just ignore it,
That's
it's been
your
ignored.
prerogative.
That's your.
okay. My prerogative will be to ignore it because the town could do it on their own.
Thanks for the confidence.
All right, I'm all set. If I have any questions, I know how to reach Ms. Carr.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
House cleaning here. All right, so next on the agenda, completeness review of application, case P 2315, Bill Holloway, agent for Sean Sicard. This has to do with the contractor yard application for rural residential zone.
Bill Holloway, I'm the agent for Sean Sicard. This is Sean, and he'll answer your questions.
All right. All right, so first step, we just gotta go through for completeness review, just to make sure everything's here and Jessica, doesn't appear that you found anything outstanding? Anything missing?
Um,
Got a lot of
It was-
NAs.
yeah, so. The NA on the paper copies, they didn't submit the large plans, which is fine for the minor site plan, so that's fine. They didn't have any other permits or anything that they submitted. They didn't have any waivers. Plus, I sat with them to go over the site plan, so
She did line
I
by
hope,
line.
I hope it's pretty well put together.
So I'll defer to the board here regarding completeness.
Looks like it's complete to me.
All right, I'll break the ice. I'll make a motion to accept the application as complete.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Scott. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So you guys want to walk us through what the game plan is here?
Sure. So, right now, we just kind of have an open lot up there. And in the next couple of years, we're planning on building some, at least starting off with one storage building. And we'll see where we go from there, but that's kind of our initial intentions.
Can you just put your microphone down? Perfect.
You got it. And the actual business that will be happening here is what?
It's maintenance yard and storage yard for our barge company on the lake.
Okay, because I see you've got logs identified. So, I mean, you're doing milling or you,
That's all.
Probably pilings.
It's a hobby.
That's a hobby.
Yeah.
That's just a hobby for the, for the boys. There's a dump truck, there's a forklift, and there are a couple trailers. There's not a lot of equipment up there. We do have a storage container to keep the important stuff under cover.
under lock.
There are no oil tanks, there are no gas tanks, there are no lubricants on site. This is just a place to put our trucks at night before, and then go in the morning and pick them up and go to the barge and head out to drive the pilots.
And it's important for me that as we're driving up, people are driving up 28, that you look over there and there's nothing that's drawing your eye over to it. I mean, I'm gonna hold myself to the same standard that I would expect from anyone else and like have a nice, clean looking place with, there's not gonna be any visible stuff from the road.
You can't see anything from the highway at
Yeah,
all.
the way it's
All you
been
can see
cut
is
is
the road.
perfect for you. I'm just surprised John didn't take more rock.
Leave me a few. No, I'll put them to use.
Probably wishes he did now.
I know. It's pretty much all by himself now.
Yes.
The guy. He's 80. You realize that he's 80 years old.
So was this the one there was a discrepancy on the acreage?
Did you see that note? Do you have this planner review
I
I
don't,
emailed over?
9.313 and 9.33. Is that what you're looking at?
I do have a plan from 95 I could show you a copy of.
All right, so I emailed some stuff to you. That the board's looking at tonight. And just doing the research that I do on applications. I had noticed that the deed indicates your acreage as 6.4.
Oh, that's a discrepancy.
The town. The town listed as 9 acres, so you may want to look into that.
Are you talking about the deed to my house? Because my house is at acreage on Halls Hill.
The deed that you submitted for. I pulled the deed from your ZBA application. Was that your house deed that you gave them?
I think so.
Okay.
I can store all the stuff in your yard.
That's for the driveway.
Access. Well, how many acres do you have for your house? About 6?
Yeah, but I'm looking at the title from Title Pro and it does say on this piece of paper 6.4. So that there is some sort of clerical error there.
Yeah, we'll have to check into that. Now, the plan we have definitely shows the 9 acres.
And it's all mapped out. It's all pinned out.
Nice to have your deed correspond to that.
We'll take care of that.
So this, your intended use is for your own use only. You're not, there's no retail business going on in here. Nobody's gonna be coming and loading and leaving and,
I mean, we have shipments of docks that come like once a month or so, but that's about it.
okay.
Come on a small flatbed. So 1 ton.
No retail business, no.
Okay.
I just did some quick math on this. What this plan shows is just a little shy of 10,000 square feet. So, I mean, 10 acres rather. So I would, just by going the dimensions,
Yeah.
I think the 9313 might be the closer of the two that are correct.
Yeah. That's isn't that why you get those, hire those people when you're buying to make sure they get the deeds all correct? You
Yeah.
get to go back to them and title company and say, fix this for free.
Hope that's the case.
Okay, and you got ZBA approval.
May 5th, 22. Well, it's been over a year.
What's that?
May 5th, 22.
Yeah.
Was the ZBA decision.
This is 5/12.
Oh. Plan review says May 5.
No, signed on 5/12. How's that?
Okay, that would be more to the point.
All right, so fire protection. The fire department had no comments or concerns. I'm not sure the board does for this particular application.
No conservation had any concerns. I saw that too.
So what about sewage treatment? Any plans to put anything in there?
We have a state approved septic plan.
It was a little out of date,
Yeah.
2008.
There's
Yep,
no-
it's a lot out of date.
There's no plans on putting.
What is the driveway for?
Driveway to get in and out.
Yeah, thank you.
Were you confused about that,
No,
Roger?
The DOT permit.
Yes,
Yes, we have that. That's right here.
So I read through the DOT permit. I saw no restrictions whatsoever.
So is it up, when is that, was it updated? Is that like a new permit?
No, it's the existing one from.
That back from
2007.
2007?
that Jedry got.
Yes.
Yeah, September 26/07. Driveway permit DOT. Restrictions.
I think his
So this
business would be a
permit-
lot less impact than,
So that driveway
Headers.
permit authorizes for a shared access to 2 wooded lots only. That's what that driveway permit was originally for, so you're
Correct.
gonna have to amend your driveway permit with the state to run your business.
We have to get that amended.
and they miss the class play well with others too.
You guys tell them that, because they're looking at me funny.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to understand where you got that from, because what I see under the specifications, it's one shared driveway is permissible.
Okay, look on the second
On second page.
page, number 9. Any change in use or increase in use requires reapplications.
It was a driveway permit for an 8-bedroom condo complex. So that would be a lot of more traffic in and out with 8 houses there than my business. So I'm not seeing a giant.
Yeah, I don't think it will be a difficult hurdle to get that updated with DOT.
Need to call Division 3 for that.
Say it again.
Division 3 can handle that for you. In Guilford.
Trying to figure out which 2 lots that was servicing.
It's Forest Proctor. Might sound there.
Yeah, it's on one of the plans.
So
I
it's
saw it.
Act 12, lot 16A.
Is the driveway currently on your lot? So it's all on your lot. Okay.
So they had a right away on your lot. Is that how that was to work?
So do they have a curb cut?
No,
But
they will
they-
use
do they-
his curb cut.
Do they still have the right of way? Is that?
I'm not sure if it's still current. I don't think they do have a right of way. I think it was a shared driveway that it wasn't necessarily a right of way. Agree to.
Well,
So in your packet, there's a copy of the
yeah,
right of way access deed. Then, and the second page is the driveway permit.
So let me ask you this, if they left it as a shared driveway access, do they need to apply for any change in use? It's still going to be used as a shared driveway,
Yes, so number 9 in that driveway permit
you know?
tells you that that permit authorizes shared access to 2 wood lots only.
Because it's a wood lots, you're saying that would change?
And then it says, sentence number 2 in number 9, any change in use or increase in use requires reapplication. Unless I'm reading it wrong.
I mean, it's still
No, I
access.
think
to
you
the
got it.
That's what that's telling me. They need to reapply.
Yeah,
'cause
So
it's
you
a
wouldn't be
change in use.
eliminating the second,
it's still the same use though. It's access to a lot.
You're changing the amount of the use, the style of what you, because they're talking wood lots. That means you go in there, harvest 5 or 6 cords, you take them out, and you've done that. But you're gonna be operating a business there. They're gonna require that.
Okay, 10-4.
Yeah, I mean, Roger,
Well,
you know.
the other thing for consideration paid. We, Susan A. Mouse, Jen Gerard Mouse, they paid for that shared use. So it's kind of like you have to do this in cooperation with them. I mean, what they paid for doesn't go away.
right? So
Right,
So I
because
think
the
the
permit's
intent-
in both their names.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
in Jedry's
So
and
it's
Mouse.
not like
and
he could just go
Proctor's.
in and, well, this is what I want to do and forget them. They have to, their
part of it.
considerations have to be brought in as well.
yeah, I don't,
Right,
yeah, and I don't just, I really don't know how the state works with all this, but you're not going to be denying them the use of this. You're just changing the use from a wood lot to a contractor's yard, therefore you need to have notified DOT of such. I think that's what the hangup is.
Yep.
That you're not eliminating that access for,
Right, well, this they'll find out when they get to the DOT, the
Yeah.
DOT is gonna say, well, what's it used for? And then they're gonna see that this other person has rights to this, they're gonna want to know what they want to use it for. So it's, obviously, it's when they go to the DOT, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that has nothing to do with us, it's just the fact that that's where they have to go.
Yep.
And they'll get the runaround.
It also says in the backside of the DOT permit, one of the check boxes, this driveway permit is for the point of access on the east granted to Addie Proctor by Commissioner's return of layout dated September 7th, 1955. Well, that's somewhere right around when the road was built, wasn't it? Bill, somewhere right around in there.
63.
Was it that late?
Okay, so just running through the list here, so the traffic impact analysis, I think, if anything, this is similar enough use. And with the driveway permit from New Hampshire DOT, they'll address all of that as
Right.
well. Off-street parking, I don't
We got plenty of that.
think you can handle that. Site landscaping. So rural district requires 40% of the lot shall be landscaped. Some bark mulch, flowers.
And it would have floated away on Sunday.
But I think, as long as this lot remains, as you have depicted it here, with the good tree coverage, and I think
It's
that's
all grass out front there anyhow. So I mean.
It's all grass and trees.
Yeah,
And it's grown in, it's very heavy.
lighting.
dark sky,
Dark sky, it's not, well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, any lighting that you do put out here.
3,000
for
K.
security or, anything along those lines. I don't know if you even got power out there.
No, not yet.
No. I imagine you're gonna want to run some out there.
We're working on it.
Yeah. So any lighting that goes out, you just need to be aware it is dark sky lighting, always pointing down. We try to keep everything at 3,000 Kelvin, which is, the softer of the light, not the glaring, burn your eyeballs
5,000,
out
not
white.
5,000 K,
What's that?
not 5,000 K,
Right.
which is daylight.
But there's no real public use here, so we're not too concerned about that aspect of it, but and so stormwater, so conservation, did they?
Nothing. They said nothing. They had no concerns.
Like the stormwater,
Conservation, highway, police, fire, assessing had no concerns. Top of the page 6.
all the stormwater comes down and goes onto the other lot.
Yeah, but that's, nature made it happen that way.
Or Jedry did.
Well, he changed the topo, but the general, that's on a hill going up, so he's higher than the lower lot, so. Water traditionally runs downhill.
Does it?
Yep.
So I think that with regard to stormwater drainage and erosion control, I think, the only comment would be is that, you cannot make it any worse than it currently may be. So you need to always be
Didn't
aware
get
of that.
washed out at all, didn't have any problem.
The point he's trying to make is you cannot disperse any more water post-development than you did pre-development. So if they do the calculations, whatever you do, you can't increase that flow without detenting it somehow.
I see. Thank you.
Snow hazards and snow storage and removal. I don't think we got to worry too much about that. You should have plenty of places to plow that without causing too much trouble. You listed your hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So no weekends. Ever?
Not yet.
Working or hanging out, you know?
All right, so utilities and structures, here's where we get to that part. So I don't know where we don't have any poles or anything identified on the drawings, but we do know that there is plenty of power running up 28.
There's power across the streets to that house, so to the apartment building.
Yeah, so I suspect you probably won't have too much trouble getting power. Signs, so you do identify a sign.
Yep.
But not the size of that sign.
It's little.
It's small.
Yeah,
It's
because
under 24 square feet, I'd say.
yeah, rural residential, so you've got to abide by at least those requirements, which I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I might say no signs in rural residential.
No, they won't say that.
No, they're just small.
12 square feet or?
Yeah, I personally, I think the sign is legit.
Yeah, I
as
don't
long as
know.
You have a permit for it.
Apply for it, you know?
I haven't seen a sign.
Yeah, it's there.
I haven't been up 28 in ages.
It's wonder you haven't been doing it to get home.
So it says that the existing New Hampshire DOT driveway permit indicates that no permanent or portable sign shall be permitted on, over, or under the highway right of way, which is 75 feet from and parallel to the center line of the highway pavement. So apparently you already got a sign out there. You might want to double check to make sure it's,
Well off the road.
Yeah,
well off the road, especially before you approach DOT about your driveway.
and they
permit.
do have sign police. Been there, done that. I can't believe we pay someone to go around and check signs for the state. It's just absurd.
All right, so departmental comments, we already talked about that. Nobody had any concerns. So what would the thresholds for active and substantial development or building and substantial development of the improvements be? Putting the sign out?
Yeah, I mean, it's all created already. I mean, when he builds it, he can build it when he wants to build it. I
Yeah,
mean,
the road is there, or the drive, I should say, is there.
I feel he has it at this point in time.
Yeah.
My opinion.
And the drive, that is all gravel going in and
Ledge pack, I believe.
sledge pack, so
Crushed concrete, yeah. I
it's crushed concrete.
think that's what Jedry might have put down on it.
Well, he would have put something over it. He wouldn't just go with the crushed concrete because that has metal in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks like ledge pack to me on the way by. Never driven in there, but
Yeah, just on a side question though, is the town accepting crushed concrete as for roadway constructions, just because it's
well,
been
this
known
is,
to
this is a
contaminate?
driveway, not to be considered a roadway, but
Yeah, just,
no, it would not, it has to meet the DOT spec 3044 and
yeah,
whatever well, you can do all 18 inches now, what we've talked about before.
yeah. All right, so we feel that they have already met the threshold for substantial development. Is that the
Agreed.
consensus I'm getting?
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
You may.
So they have proposed 2 barns at some point, is that correct?
Potentially, I heard one initially when he sat down. I know that there was 2 commented about.
John kind of just said, think about the future when
Absolutely.
I do it. So
So
there's no plan to do it, but
2 barns and a workshop?
Well, one
One barn in a workshop. I thought.
workshop, storage and a tool shed workshop.
So is it the board's intention to have them come back to do an amended site plan once they're actually building on the site?
I would say not.
Wouldn't that go straight to the building department?
Right, usually when you guys do site plans and there are buildings involved, you look at floor plan, you look at building, you have comments, you have input on that stuff.
We're not even to the stage, we know what size buildings we're gonna put up. I mean, we're just thinking that at some point, we're gonna wanna have some kind of storage. That's all. I mean,
So that would, what you're telling me
I'm
is,
just asking the,
yeah, so that
question
would
just so
require
that
them
it's
to come
clear.
back when the time comes that you figure out what you want to do for buildings and where, what they're gonna look like. You gotta come back to us.
So part of the delay of this process was the fact that I was waiting to get back some quotes for metal constructed buildings, and John gave me the impression that it didn't matter. It was more of the footprint thing than what the actual building construction was. So that's just what, because I was waiting to try to get this information so I could do it all in one sitting. And he's like, nope, doesn't matter. Just give me the size of the building. And that's all I need for now to get through this step.
Okay, because that doesn't show up on your,
right, and that's
Plan.
because you were operating without the planning board approval.
Yeah.
So John wanted you to come in with something
Mhm.
to get you
Going.
going and, you know, so that you had a planning board approval. So that's why he was like, it doesn't matter if you don't have that stuff right now. Come in, because he was gonna issue you a letter.
Yeah.
And that you didn't want to receive. So that's why he had you come in and at least get something on paper and get an approval with the board. So things are a little off in sort of the
Well, I
time frame
think-
of
I think-
things that would normally take place.
I think you're right.
He would
If they
come in.
want to do a building, then they have to come back.
Yeah.
It's like Camp Brookwoods. They're here tonight. They want to do a building, they had to come back.
So with that, what, you know, sort of if the board wants to think about what would they would require, are they just gonna come in for a minor site plan review? Is it a major site plan? Does that involve, you know, town engineer? Observations,
Well, I don't think.
stormwater
they're
drainage, things
changing
like that. So I'm
any-
just throwing that out there so that he knows from here, it's very clear, like what his next steps.
Well, first of all, I would suggest that whatever you plan for the future, even if it's greater than you want to do now, go for it and get it on the paper. So when you just do decide to put a second building up there, you just go get a permit and off you go. I mean, that would be definitely.
Well, that would be difficult for them too, because we ask them siding is, what the lighting is, what the pitch of the roof is, and the reason that it concerns us is the size of the building that creates water, as you all know. So, I mean, our big thing is the drainage. Where's the water going?
Yep.
We don't really care what color the shingles are. So it's kind of a funny, it's a funny thing because I mean, here they're saying, yeah, we're gonna be doing buildings. So we'd really.
What size, yeah,
Doing for
how
buildings,
big?
but there's nothing specific. So I think you're right. I think it just, you know, grant them the yard they got there, and if they want to put up buildings, they got to come back.
I think to kind of streamline the process here, I think that's the best approach.
Works for
Um,
us.
And when you come back, you'll come back with whatever this building is looking like. You'll have thought about the pitch.
Building elevations.
Yeah, the rain coming off of the roof and how you're gonna manage it and, you know,
Makes sense.
And a good way to do that is it's just a permit by notification. You can do groundwater recharge, put a dry well gutters coming down or drip edges. And it can be really easy to satisfy the roof water situation.
Yeah.
As long as you have some
Absolutely.
permeability.
But the big thing is when you leave tonight, you'll be able to work.
maybe, we haven't gotten there yet.
You'll likely.
But yes, thank you.
Okay,
for-
no, thank you for
for bringing
clarifying
that
that,
up.
because I was a little unsure what you guys thought.
Obviously next is the threshold for substantial completion, which I think we've all decided they're there as well at this moment in time.
All right, and what was that threshold?
They've met it.
They've already met it.
The driveway's in, the building site is rough prepared. You know, I mean,
So so the substantial
Is
would be,
completed? How do you
well-
want to word that?
so the substantial would be upon receipt, I think, of the updated DOT driveway permit.
And do you want that for both thresholds?
No, I think only for the substantially complete. I think that we've decided that the active and substantial development has been satisfied already.
Okay, so to submit the DOT driveway permit, that's for substantial completion of improvements.
Yes.
And so what was it that they did? For active and substantial development.
To
Well,
get them started.
they built the
have a
driveway.
already in there and
the
Okay.
general site area is clean and stable, I would imagine, right? It's all ledge back up in there. Or stone.
All right, so existing driveway and to stabilize the site.
It is stabilized, I think.
Okay.
all right, so we should open this for public comment. Anybody from the public here to speak to this case? Hearing none, close the public. Okay. So planning board options can move to approve the application, the conditions precedent and subsequent.
Yep, with driveway permit.
Yes, and that's actually listed under condition 6 of conditions precedent.
Okay, good. Mr. Chairman, I will move on case P 23-15 to approve the, what are we really approving here?
Contractors.
Contractors yard, yep. With conditions precedent and subsequent conditions. And active and substantial has been met. Development has been met to meet the guidelines.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion from Scott. Seconded.
Yep, second from Nick.
All right. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Good night, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, Sean, can you email me?
Good evening.
Send me like so that I can make sure I get your writing and all that, because I might have a wrong one, because I can send you. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Good grief. Which one is- There we go. Yeah.
All right, so the next case on the docket was case P 2317. And that
Yep,
has been,
so, I received an email from Steve Oles at Norway Plains. And his clients wanted to withdraw from the application with prejudice. There were a bunch of things that they had to go to the ZBA for. Variances and equitable waivers. So I think after they found out how many things that they needed to go for, they decided to withdraw. They also asked a return of their application fee. So since then, the town has already paid for the abutter notices and the newspaper fee. I looked through the application, I looked through all of the subdivision regulations, and I couldn't find that blurb that states no refunds like it does in site plan regs. I couldn't find it anywhere, so technically we don't have that no refunds are allowed clause with subdivision applications. So if the board wants me to, I can refund them their $75 application fee and the $3 it would have cost to mail out the notices of decision.
Yeah, all the other stuff.
But I can't refund any of the other
'Cause you
items
spent- you
because
spent
we've
it.
already paid
Already,
for that.
yeah,
But you also spent time reviewing the
We did,
application
Right,
and
there was a
No.
bunch of work
somebody.
that was done. Department heads have submitted information.
What's next to my-
So everybody already put time into this.
There is, so it's really up to the board to agree with that or not. We don't allow refunds with site plan regs, and I think maybe it just was an oversight with the subdivision regulations. I'm not sure what happened at that point. I wasn't here at
That's
that
why-
point.
Yeah.
but
I think if no effort was put into it and, no mailings done, then, I don't really have an issue with returning it, but there's effort's been done. There's
Right, you-
costs have been expended.
exactly.
I don't agree with the refunding. I think we should deny the refund.
I agree.
We need to vote on that?
We should.
I think you should just, for clarity's sake, I think.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we deny the refund request for case P 23-17 application.
I second that.
It was seconded and third. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, who wants to take the second on that?
Well,
That-
Nick,
Go
give it to
ahead.
Nick.
Oh,
He's a
go
bad
ahead.
guy.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
All right, next case, P 23-18. Reno Construction Company, agent for Camp Brookwood,
Looking forward to seeing this.
final major site plan.
Comes the team. What kind of trees are those called?
All right, so this is an almost 12,000 square foot multi-use facility. I remember that model. No, we had found this already complete, is that correct?
We did, there was some adjustments in the
So
building, I think.
that was
That-
the design review application.
Oh, okay.
So
All right, this,
Application
got
start
it,
for fresh.
final.
thank you. Yeah. So again, you find this application, there was nothing missing from the actual submission application.
So the only thing that we're waiting for is the latest and greatest drainage report.
Right.
That would be,
Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
pull the mic down and give us
Sure.
your name and.
Yep, Jeff Oliva, Civil Consultants. So we've been working with your town engineer, and there was an email that came through late in the afternoon to you, Jessica, that we've been going back and forth because I received this review memo today
Okay.
about the difference in the building size compared to the memo to what's on the site plan. What we've done is the building has shrunk in footprint a little bit. We haven't changed any of the drainage design from that original, that all stays the same. And the email there just confirmed with the town engineer that by reducing that square footage on the plan and not changing any drainage reduces impervious coverage. We don't need to make any other revisions to our plan. So his approval letter that came in back at the end of June doesn't change anything.
Okay, which I
Yeah.
could, I kind of figured as much.
Yeah,
You know, when you're
yeah.
doing less,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah.
not more invasive ordinarily.
So I think that addresses that question on that.
Okay,
And the other site plan question is that we're working with Don Bucher at DES about the septic design. We have our test pits completed. We're working on our plan that's going to go to DES for the approval. We're working with them because of we were waiting until we finalized what the exact fixture count was going to be inside the building with the reductions, and knowing that the septic design flows on site work with the other portions on the campus, that this isn't really a standalone building. That there's the dining hall and the cabins, that there's a reduced septic flow based on the usage in this area. And that's what we're just kind of getting that organized and working with DES to get that finished.
Okay.
So we,
Do you currently meter all your water usage in different buildings like the dining hall and things like that? That would be probably a
Yeah.
good idea
Yeah.
because that's actual usage and you can take that. to
you can actually take
DES.
that reduction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've looked at what the past approvals have been for what the usage and the number of campers that are there. And we're looking at that area to reduce that. So I don't have any issues, any thoughts that DES is going to give us any concern with our plan. So we'll
Right,
be
I
finishing
just
that
wanna-
up pretty
I just
soon.
want to back up a
Sure.
couple of steps here
Okay.
so we can get through the completeness aspect. I know we
Sorry
can get
about
into this nitty gritty. So I will entertain a motion from the
I'll make a
board.
motion that we accept P 2318 as complete.
Okay, so motion by Bill,
Second.
seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we can get into nitty gritty. Okay, so I got tossed up a little bit here on, because I think our agenda listed it as a larger building than what you actually have presented. I think that, so I announced it was nearly 12,000
Yes,
square
correct.
feet.
Yeah.
And just so to correct the record, it is down to 10,000
Oh,
94.
494.
So you have
Magnifying
you
glass.
have a drainage report for the 11,624 square footage building, just not the 10-4 building.
Okay. Okay, so, and just to do a quick recap, and I apologize, I was off somewhere. But we have communication with the town engineer, and it's basically reiterating your statement that I heard you say, that because the building's smaller, we're hunky-dory with.
Correct.
It's already.
Yeah, we're not going to change any of the design, any of the grading, any of the stormwater provisions with that slightly reduced building.
Okay.
So,
so Mike did send that email and that's what he said. Since the proposed layout has less impervious area, I don't see any problem with what is proposed. And revising the drainage calculations is not necessary, in my opinion.
Excellent. There we go.
and then for the septic, we'll get as soon as we get that squared away and what the number of fixtures and how that goes, we'll get that submitted. And as soon as it comes, obviously it comes to the town, but we'll make sure that I send it to you, Jessica, as well.
And that can be also a condition of approval.
Yeah.
So it comes in, it's
No.
done.
Yeah.
One thing I'm a little confused about on the traffic impact analysis. They use the word market in here. Is there gonna be a market? I, no, it says
That may be left over
of the market hours, it says.
prior.
And then the highway department
Site plan.
stated that the department of review that traffic and parking should be monitored during the event. I'm a little,
No market. These are
Oh.
campers.
No,
yeah, I know,
Eat a lot of
that's your,
food, but we
that's your
gotta
game
bring
there.
so no, that does not apply to you. Okay.
Okay.
That came from a different
So we should probably just say not
So
applicable.
what
on
page
that.
are you on? I'm sorry.
That would be page 3, traffic impact analysis. It's the third bullet down.
So you're on the wrong planner review.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I was like, that sounds.
It's like,
that sounds like
don't
a
see it either.
But you're still right. There's no market.
Sorry,
There's no market.
Still no market.
still no market. Why? There it is. That's the one I
I
want.
know there are times I make mistakes, but wow, that was a big one.
I'll get on the right page now.
I'll stop looking for the stuff.
All right. So photometric study sheets have not been updated. Exterior lights are the same. They just mounted to a slightly smaller building.
Yep. Same fixtures, same locations.
Was that engineered or just?
That was initially engineered with the 11,624 square footage building.
Yeah,
Yep.
so there is a photometrics.
Yep.
Are there cliff notes on the whole fire department sprinkler comments? I mean, what is the end? I see all these calculations, this many people for 40 feet.
Essentially, he has a concern with the occupancy load being over 300 people. Once you get over 300 people, it triggers the need for automatic sprinklers. But we're working with the fire engineer to delineate all the spaces of the building and to explain how they'll be used and show that the building will be under 300 people for the occupancy load. He's interpreting the code in a way that
Becomes a place of
shows
assembly.
that it will be a really concentrated use around the basketball court, when in fact, those areas around the basketball court will need to be cleared for safety and for paths of travel. So we're working with an architect of record and a fire engineer who will stamp and approve the plans that we submit for the building permit application, showing the occupancy load under 300 people. So we have a plan to address that and also see his concern, but
Plus, there's a ton of egress in the building.
tons of egress, exactly.
It still ultimately is the authority having jurisdiction, so.
I thought when you were in last, I thought you had said that this building was also going to be used when it was really, when the weather was nasty out, you were going to open the doors and put everybody in there to keep them out of the weather. So there's that, what's the maximum amount of people that you have on campus at one time? Does it go over 300?
No, there's about 125 staff and campers altogether. And that's the maximum amount of people that can sleep on the camp. And it's really the difference between calculating the concentrated viewing versus non-concentrated. So his interpretation is that people are going to be standing all around the aisles around the court, and that increases the occupancy load significantly. So we have been, like I said, we've been working with the fire engineer to address this building and to clearly explain the uses of all the space so that we show it as under 300 people. And I clarified once we got those notes from the fire marshal, I called fire engineer that we've been working with, and is our plan of attack, is this still viable with this information that we now know? And he assured us that our way of breaking up the uses of this space is legitimate with the code. So we plan on presenting that with his stamp of approval for the building permit application.
So obviously that is an item that is going to need to be resolved.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Is that resolved through this board or through code enforcement?
No, that would be through the fire department.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that-
code enforcement.
he
Yeah.
ultimately, that's his decision.
Yep.
And the fire department really has the jurisdiction on that.
And we could put that on as a subsequent condition. So
Absolutely.
then that way it's captured and
Yeah.
something to follow through on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll have a full code summary on our permit set plans and then also have a third party review, as Stephanie was saying, with the fire engineer. On the local permits.
Okay, and then the access around the building, that has all been addressed for,
Yeah, so what we did is working with the fire department there, making sure that we've got the driveway in, we've got the road on the side, and then we're keeping clear area around in case there needs to be an emergency vehicle that goes around the building. So we've indicated some dimensions on there and working with your town fire department and our fire engineer to show that.
There's at least 30 feet around the whole building.
drawing. Even wearing my glasses, I still can't see.
So I think if you go to sheet L2, it's a little bit more of a blow up in that area. You can see it has the dimensions around that.
There we go.
Yeah, so you can see how we've got indicated some dimensions around from the building to the tree line so that there would be access. You have access that would come on off of Damon Drive into that area, into that space, and then obviously into the gravel, 20-foot gravel driveway that comes up and comes in for the parking area would have access. And then we're leaving open space around the building in case that's needed as well.
So the intention is to come off Damon Drive for the construction. as well.
Construction and then leave that area open. So if an emergency vehicle needs to come in there, we're not planning on landscaping that area to restrict that.
Will you have a
Like,
gate there or something?
No gate, just
Gate?
a grassed area that they could drive on if they need to. We don't anticipate that really being needed, but say if a fire truck came
But if
through.
a grassed
they-
area wouldn't support the weight of a fire truck.
Yeah,
Oh, but
that's-
with a gravel base, it would.
Yep.
How populated is Damon Drive? I mean,
Well,
that's,
it's all waterfront properties down there. There's probably what, 15 or 20 houses
Yep.
ish down
15,
past
16
it.
houses.
there's gonna be a lot of traffic during construction. As well. And then my only other thought is that this is, if you don't gate this, once you're all done, I mean, this could be just an easy access for anybody to come in to,
The point I was going at with a gate, if there's a gate, there should be a Knox box lock.
Oh,
on it.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, to be able
That
to
way the
get
fire
access
department
that
can
way.
gain access. That's
Yeah.
where I was going with that.
I was going for security was what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
People wandering in. But I am concerned about the support of the vehicles and I'm also the grades going around.
Yeah, it's quite
that- that
substantial
you-
grades.
Yeah, you can't, you'll roll a truck going
Yep.
around that.
Rear part of the build, well, the part facing the, let's put it this way, the wetland, the little in red there, that looks pretty good grade wise,
Yeah.
but the backside's pretty
Yeah,
steep.
I think the idea that
30%
there is really just to keep it open. It's not going to be a real fire lane. There's not a need for a fire lane around the whole building, but it keeps it open so that if there is the need to get there, you
Well,
could.
we just stated earlier that we're gonna have access all the way around the building. And if we're gonna have
Yeah.
access around the building, it should be,
Well, I think it's, okay.
have to be able to
yeah.
move function around it.
Well, I guess I'd like to talk to the fire department because I don't think it was meant to be a fire lane around the structure, just to be kept open and clear.
Points of
Yeah,
access.
I don't
Yeah.
think that you necessarily need a racetrack, but
No.
you certainly need access and extending some sort of means, you must got, these are sidewalks, I assume, that
Yeah,
are dotted
correct.
in on this.
Yep.
That, some way for a truck to come in and get at least halfway down the back of that building, not 3/4 of the way down the
Yep.
back of the building. And the same on the front side.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
probably do that by coming around the facing to the east and then coming basically south, then you come back a little ways down towards the west. And that corner would be, that has the bad topo there. You could come from the other way and
Yeah,
not,
you could come.
not have complete,
So you've
Sir.
got full coverage, you
Right.
just can't drive it.
Yeah, so you can come in you could come in the access drive that goes to the 2 parking spots. Come as you're approaching the building, you can make a left and make that along that edge there.
Yeah.
And then off of Damon Drive, you can come in the backside and come over almost 3/4 of the way there and fit that. Yeah. So we can add a note to make that a clear and stable area.
Right, and to stabilize that is, I think, gravels under turf are good, but there's other
Yeah.
methods too.
Yeah,
to help
there's like a grass
support
ring thing or that work. Yeah, we've done a bunch of those.
the
kind of
the
turf.
grassy pavers and-
Yeah.
and,
those are pretty cool, actually.
yeah, they work fantastic.
They do.
Yeah.
And I think a similar approach as well over on the other side of the building where the indicator P2 is.
Mhm.
I think having something along there as well to get a vehicle over just above that small wetland area.
Yep.
And that I think would provide adequate access for any fire equipment, rescue equipment.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Right down through here. Go to L2, it's easier.
So this is the, come down with a bike truck. What that?
The road here. Right. Yep. Great. That's all right. I was on the wrong night, wrong company there.
On Seward area siting requirements. So I think you're addressing all of the septic requirements and so that would be a condition precedent, obviously. Get that state approval.
And we should put them, if the gate is used, a Knox block.
Yeah, and yeah, I
So-
think. And I think the gate is, that's a judgment call, I think, on your part. The fire department may require that as well. I trying to think of
They wouldn't require a gate, but they would definitely require a Knox box if you put a gate.
if there were a
Right,
gate.
right.
Yeah. Just, yeah, I was trying to recall projects that I've done that were the secondary means of egress and they always require gates. And I
Back of,
think it's the planning board that requires them.
the back of Hannaford is a classic example.
Yeah.
They have, it goes onto Range Road there.
So I think, if the planning, if this board wants to require a gate, I think we can. I think it's a good idea just for the overall protection of the property. If nothing else, it keeps vehicles from wandering.
It's controlled access at that point.
Yeah,
But do we have the right, do we need to say that? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think we do have the right.
We do have the right, whether we
Um,
need to or not, that's.
Right, and I think we can, we can say that, we would recommend it, we don't require it, but if a gate is installed, it must have a Knox box keyed to Alton Fire Department and Police Department. Get all that?
Only the fire department has access to the Knox lock.
Oh, police doesn't?
Nope.
No.
They're not trustworthy, no.
But this, and with this plan, or doesn't. I mean, this plan doesn't give us existing, I mean, this isn't a standalone building, right? It's
Yep.
with all other buildings.
Sit alone.
You guys have tons of buildings. Right?
Right now, it's
Right.
an open field.
Yeah.
She,
This particular area.
And one more step on the Knox lock, the building should have Knox locks for the entry to the building as well.
sheet EC shows the other buildings on the property,
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
ones that are
They're adjacent.
fairly adjacent buildings. Should be like the third sheet.
Yeah, even L1. Kind of gives you the proximity.
And this would be for year-round use, correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if you had year-round use, would you have a gate?
Well, they can tag team the locks together, put a Knox lock and then their own private lock incorporated with the Knox lock. So they could open theirs and lock and open it. And if the fire department were there, they could use their key to open it. I mean,
I'd stick with that recommendation thing and not a requirement. I mean, if it's year-round, you don't want a gate. And you're plowing, you gotta get out and open a gate.
speaking from someone who's plowed and opened a gate before.
You're going down there, oh darn, I forgot the key, you gotta go all the way back. If the thing's used, you don't need to gate it.
Well, I think it's a good idea to have a gate there personally, but it's America if you want.
So we're gonna make the recommendation, but not a requirement. And then the caveat being that if they do, Knox lock required. So parking, the three handicap spaces, that's it? Am I misreading something here?
Campers don't come with cars.
Yeah, this is mostly for campers for that. And then that we provided the ADA parking there just in case there is the need on the public that will be parking up on the parking lot that's near the other buildings and walking to this structure. If there is a need for that, we have the capacity to have the ADA parking spaces near here for that accommodation. But as the owners indicated here, these are for campers and they're running around the woods here. And it's mostly pedestrian traffic. So that's why you don't see 10, 15, 20 parking spaces here, is because it's all pedestrian walking. And then we're just providing the provision that if there is the need for grandparents or whoever comes in ADA parking, we have it there for them to use to be able to get to the facility.
So what is it? Just 3 handicap spots?
That's it.
All right, so then in this building, I mean, who's sweeping the floors? And you must have some employees, people that stay in there.
They're walking up to go do all that work.
There's mops and buckets.
Or a golf cart.
I think they got room to store the mops and buckets in the building.
There should be a spot.
There's a closet.
A couple in there, I'm sure.
Pick up drugs or
And I don't know if compacted gravel qualifies as accessible.
accessible for what?
Wheelchair.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, fire truck.
I think you could strain that to ledge pack and that would probably be a firmer surface.
Yeah, that, I was thinking compacted gravel with some stone dust in it.
Yeah.
And that's.
Stone and
that-
dust.
Yeah, that's an acceptable ADA compliant hard surface for that.
And you can put a smaller, grit on it, like 3/4 or 3/8. That way they won't bump over rocks or whatever.
Yep. We just didn't want to pave it. Nothing out there is paved. Everything else is gravel in that area. So just to keep it consistent with how this building is going to sit inside that. The open field that was the riding range before, and this sits in the woods. Just keep it part of the camp system.
All right. Well, I definitely think though that whatever you do, you want to make sure that you are satisfying the requirements for accessibility.
And the building inspector will back that up.
Yeah.
Upon issuance of a permit.
All right, stormwater, we got that covered. Noise.
Screaming kids.
Screaming kids, yep.
They're not allowed to scream after 9 PM. Good luck.
Lights
Yeah.
out.
Black and white. And it says here that the board is able to limit these hours further if we deem it necessary. I don't necessarily deem it necessary.
And I think we can run a lot on their reputation. I mean, it's a first class show up there. So, I mean, they're gonna police themselves too.
No air conditioners, heat pumps, compressors, etc. will be on site. It's an odd checklist item, huh?
How you gonna heat it?
It'll be in the mechanical room.
Okay.
So you're doing like a fossil fuel fired boiler type system?
Furnace, yeah.
Construction observation services and escrow account.
Mr. Chair, so the question to the board would be, are you guys going to require any construction observations?
Well, we do have the water management system,
Stormwater.
the stormwater. So I think that there needs to be some oversight just to verify that it's being put in as intended.
And the building inspector can handle the rest. On his inspect. Yeah, I agree. The stormwater, that's the real worry for us. I mean, the lakes are bread and butter. So,
Yeah, I mean, look what happened Sunday.
yeah, it's coffee colored out there.
So,
Okay, so my next question is, do you guys want a pre-construction meeting to be held?
I don't think there's any benefit to that as long as the engineer's on board for I mean, it's basically a building. It's a structure, not with very little dirt work other than the building itself.
no, I think as long as, all the parties are aware of the conditions and requirements, and I am a little concerned about the vehicular traffic and noise during construction to the residents on Damon Drive. That's really my only concern. And should we put some sort of a restriction on those working hours?
Well,
Well, the town already has working hours in their purview there.
Yeah, but
guys only work hours, I mean, they don't work at 10 o'clock at night when people would be bothered.
yeah, not till 10 o'clock at night, but I certainly have seen framing crews work until 9 o'clock at night. In the summer.
This building's literally a mile away from your next neighbor
From the nearest neighbor?
on Damon Drive. Yes, sir. Mile away.
And
Gotta be a really loud saw.
Yeah.
and the only abutter had all good things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the only one that wrote.
Right.
Our ideal building plan on this is if we can get approved for this and get through the building permit by September, we'd like to start in September. Like to have it done by next June, which most of the people down on Damon Drive are there during the summer, so we'd like to finish this before next summer. So I think that ameliorates some of your
That makes
concerns
good
about
sense.
noise and
They'd actually like to start on September 6th. Oh, lie.
Okay, so the noise may not be an issue, but I'm gonna go back. Damon Drive, I have not driven it in probably 5 years.
It's a narrow road paved.
Is it gonna hold up to concrete trucks?
Well, I'm sure that there's been a whole bunch of other construction down the street that goes by this that have, I mean, there are substantial homes down there.
Yeah.
there are more expensive homes down the street than this thing.
What is David Drive? Is it a town
That's such a
road?
private way, I believe. It's private.
Private.
Yeah.
Oh, it is private.
So it's not bonded by the,
Yeah.
I plowed it a couple of times. I hated it.
All right, and I'm not worried about that either. So we'll have, I don't know, whoever's up next for, or well, we've already got KVs on this, right?
Yeah, so
So-
he would do the observations as well.
Okay,
So his purview would be stormwater management.
So I'll reach out to Mike and get a an estimate as to how much is needed for the escrow account.
okay, defining active and substantial development. Would say that the start of foundations
Yeah.
would,
I say the installation of concrete would vest them. That's the first thing that really will happen other than the dirt work.
and substantial completion would be obtaining a certificate of occupancy.
Which would be code enforcement.
You guys are invited to the first dodgeball game.
What's that?
You're invited to come to the first dodgeball game and stuff.
As long as we're watching only. All right, so we should probably open this to the public. Is anyone from the public here? Come on up, find
all
a
neighbors.
seat or a microphone.
Just take 1 second. My name is David Slade. I'm owner manager of Jolly Holdings LLC, which owns the 23 acres abutting this property across Chestnut Cove Road. That's a long-winded way of saying I'm entirely, completely supportive of this project for what that's worth.
All right, thank you.
And I'm not concerned about the noise.
Close the windows, right?
So we did have also had. Where is that?
So if you want to just read that off of mine.
Yeah, so we also had a email to Robin from Bonnie Sweeney, who expresses her support as a neighbor of Camp Brookwood's Deer Run to their new building project near the entrance to the camp. My family on private road Damon Drive have been neighbors of the camp for almost 60 years. Have been a terrific relationship with the camp, especially under the directorship of Bob Strodel. They have been terrific neighbors, supportive, helpful, caring, and always there to help a neighbor in need. They have even helped to build good camaraderie within the neighborhood. Their campers are terrific too, respectful, great kids. So. Excellent.
First class show, like I've said.
So any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll close the public portion of this. So timeframes for start of construction. Typically 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to work with you, 12 months for start of construction.
That thing is killing me. I'm freezing.
And it has completion listed here within 24 months. So that gives you 2 years from now to be done.
No, it's technically a little bit longer. They have a year to complete conditions.
Then
And
24
then
months after that.
From that date,
So then 3 years.
from that date, the plans get signed and it's 12 months to start construction after the plans get.
They'll be done in May.
Right.
Yeah.
May,
Then
May
you got
20.
plenty of time.
You have the flow sheet, do you?
Yeah, let's go through the last.
Okay, I didn't see
Five
that.
days to paint.
Yeah.
Hey, you probably wouldn't like this.
All right, so time frame for compliance with the conditions.
Yep.
So you don't think you need more than a year?
No.
Does board feel a site walk needed?
And I don't
Feel,
actually, I
isn't
don't
it?
feel so.
I want one just because I want to go check the place out, but
A nice time.
I might go knock on the door up there at some point.
Well, if you haven't been in there, I would see Mr. Strodel, and it's quite a facility.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is quite a facility, especially the dining hall and that whole thing. That's like a really impressive.
Excellent.
I haven't been in there since the 70s.
You wouldn't recognize it.
Used to empty the dumpster.
All right. So. Anybody like to make a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, case P 23-18. Lakeshore Residential Zone. I will move to approve the plan as presented with conditions subsequent. And the other one,
Precedent.
precedent too, yep. Also a Knox box on the building to be done, and at recommended is a gate with Knox lock, but not required.
Okay, and just if I may,
Yeah, I sure do.
the fire department approval regarding the occupancy calculations and fire suppression.
Nicely worded.
Thank you. All right, so,
And subject to a state approved septic system.
yeah, I think that's on there. But good.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion, seconded by Nick. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Go.
Right.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All's in your court, guys. Good luck.
So I have the older check. I guess it was a prior check. That was the wrong
Okay.
amount.
Yeah,
Do you want that back?
sure.
She doesn't give me checks back.
Let's set a vote about that.
God, that thing's off. I'm freezing.
Gonna have to make him chair so we get him over here.
You have to move somewhere.
Stop
complaining.
We can put
And I'll go sit underneath that AC. I could use some right about now.
What's that?
Something you said? Right out. All right, next case, case P 23-19, Christy
Hanchon.
Say it right.
Hanshod, thank you. Agent for the Community Church of Alton. This is regarding minor site plan to have a weekly seasonal outdoor community farmers market within a 12,000 square foot area. Plus. Hi,
Hi. Christy Payne Show, agent for Community Church of Alton.
all right, thank you. First we need to check for completeness and Jessica was, I don't think that there was anything missing, was there?
Nope. As far as I know, I worked with Mrs. Paintshaw on this, so.
Then I get a chance to talk to Mike. Monitoring of the parking. I'll save
You'll
it.
get your chance. Right, so
I'll make a motion that we accept P 2319 as complete.
Second,
motion by Bill, seconded by Scott. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. All right. You want to give us a quick overview?
Yes, so I just wanted to find a place in town where I could bring together some local farmers, businessmen, entrepreneurs, artists who was looking for locations. And I reached out to the Community Church of Alton because they have, prime real estate right off of Main Street, suitable parking, suitable space, adequate viewage of people passing by. So I reached out to the church and they agreed to allow me to use the space. I make a weekly donation. I provide the mowing of this place. I provide all the application process for all the vendors, that the people ensure we have insurance, liability waivers are signed. So it's a seasonal outdoor market. It runs from June through October. Right now it's Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 3. We have just under 30 vendors, not all at one time, just throughout, but we could accommodate 30 at a time, but that would be the max capacity. So yeah,
that's what's been operating over here every week.
yes, every Wednesday from 11 to 3. We have 2 food trucks. There is a driving entrance behind the video store off of Church Street. That would be suitable. It's kept clear for fire and emergency personnel to respond should there be an emergency there. And all of the vendors park in the overflow at the church parking lot down the street on Church Street. So we leave adequate space for market guests to park on Main Street and off of Church Street.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So I'm never in town on Wednesdays at that hour, so I've never seen this in operation.
Yeah, well, you have a bird's eye view. You can watch
Right
it
out my
going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
it looks great,
What kind of food trucks do you have?
Right now we have a smoothie truck. They're out of Laconia. And then we have Good Eat 603. He's hosted several events with us here in our community. And then we have local farmers, trying really to hone in on our local farmers, but not all, most of them work during the day or they're already committed to other markets. But we have a lot of local businesses and entrepreneurs and local artists. So that was my intended goal, was to give people that lost a space to sell their products, especially with the country store closing recently. A lot of vendors are at my market now because they have no place to sell their products.
Yeah.
So
So
It's-
where do the food trucks park when they're here?
they park right by the exit. I wanted them close so they weren't damaging or driving more on the lawn. They're right behind the video store, essentially, right behind 115 Main.
Okay.
They back in. And it's already like a paved driveway entrance there where the snowplows go in the winter. They drive through the same entrance. And I have a porta potty set up in the back corner as well. I provide that monthly too, so people have a place to use the restroom. I never knew porta potties were so expensive.
It's awful.
So, got in the wrong business.
I'm just perplexed by why someone wants to monitor the traffic, the parking and stuff like that. It is going to be a heck of a lot less busy there on a Wednesday afternoon than Sunday morning with the church overflow. I mean, if they handle it on Sunday, it's definitely going to handle it on Wednesday.
Driven by, there's
That's
not really,
great.
there's not a traffic problem.
Have a mixed folder again?
Mine were kind of stuck together here, but
Is this part of your folder?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
So what I did do, just because this is my first introduction into completing a minor site plan. So forgive me if there are any errors or mistakes, I'm learning. But what I did want to capture is the long-term goal here, and to prevent from having to do this in 2 years should, myself and the church continue to do this for the community. Long-term goals, I would like to do some type of fixed pavilion, nothing obstructive. Just I provided a sample picture just to kind of give something I was brainstorming. I don't have dimensions or cost estimates. That's, obviously something the church would have to be in agreement upon, or maybe we could do something as the community together. The goal really is just to have a place where our community could gather for community events.
Is that the future cover? That's what you've
That's something
identified?
similar. Yeah, I was just trying to give a visual to the way to what I wrote in here, you know, a fixed cover and section 8 of my executive summary I just wrote. And with that would be solar electrical lighting would have to be, you know, brought in. Right now, there is no electrical or water on site. One of the neighbors has graciously allowed me to run an extension cord for the guitar, for the music to play, and that's it. But it's only one building over and a water hose for the kiddie pool, because there is a kid's playground there. It's so we just have a little kiddie pool there when because it's been really hot.
Personal observation, it'd be great if the church could get with the owners of 115 Main Street to get that a septic system there, because that building is just gonna fall into the ground. And it's just a shame that that building just sit there and deteriorate.
I'm trying to work that, but that's a whole nother topic.
That's how it's been trying for a long time.
That's another meeting.
That's
yeah.
another meet. That's really, yeah.
So you're not asking for this pavilion tonight?
No, but maybe in the future, I would just come in and do an amendment once I had the building dimensions and the
Yep.
agreement with the community church, or if the
That would be-
church built
The
it.
community church that would have to do that.
Well, that's what I mean. It would be a working collaboration.
Right.
The church does not have the funds or I don't think.
The only, I mean, it says that 200 to 300 people, is that, you have that now?
No, I just put, again, I put max capacity, like right now we're saying maybe to 100 to 150 a week.
Well, I just wonder.
And those are trickling in and out.
No, no.
That's over a 4-hour period.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's
The lunch
not.
trucks.
There's never been, the parking has never been full, and obviously it's something I'm monitoring. So it's something I'm being very cautious of. But no, it's not reached that capacity. This is a first time market, so I really had nothing to compare it to, other than other community markets that I've kind of assessed over the years, running other events for other organizations I've sat on throughout the community, just based on what type of people come out in the community. But this is a weekly event, so we're seeing less attendance and it's during the week, which actually is kind of good. So it's not stopping traffic on a Saturday and our main thoroughfare.
Has everybody read the Conservation Commission?
I did.
Yes.
Wow, they're out to lunch. I'm sorry, that's just,
They've got something bad to say about
Everything.
I
yeah, it's just, it's just ridiculous.
I'm just glad you feel that way. 'cause I
Yeah,
was a little
running,
concerned. I don't know how to
I'm
respond.
gonna skate over that for a moment.
Feel free.
On the plan review, so obviously noting that it's the RC zone and the days and hours of operation on the plan.
Yes, and I also put in the summary, this is the first year. So this is the first, I picked Wednesday because that was a day it didn't conflict with any community markets. So I didn't want to compete with Gilmington or Wolfboro. But a lot of people have asked in the community if we could have it on a weekend because they work during the day. So I did put that in there. In the future, we may have a once a month, have it on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday. So I don't know how I can write that or put that in there, that dates, days of week may fluctuate in the future. Because next year there may be, if our vendors say this works better for us, my goal is to keep it on Wednesdays because obviously I'm running this as a business, not as a nonprofit. So it's just me. So it has to fit my lifestyle and I have little kids and other responsibilities on the weekends.
So I'm not. I mean, obviously, if you have the thought that you might want to do this on weekends,
Mhm.
I assume Saturdays.
Or Friday, like 4 to 7 after work, or Saturdays or Sundays. Do I just put all of that in there now?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I would. And I would
Right.
alleviate you having to come back.
Okay.
Just to amend, like, now I want to do Fridays. You'd have to come through this whole process
Right.
just to tell the board
Yeah, you
you
don't
want to
do
do
that.
Fridays.
And I also have to go through the doesn't conflict with the church. There's not anybody that I know of that's using that for other, like the car show, I think uses it once a year, but other than that, and the church doesn't have the preschool there or aftercare. So no one's currently utilizing that space that I would foresee it being a conflict. So I guess I would like to, put that
so
in
so
there.
what would those days and times be? so that we can have that kind of,
So I would say Fridays from 4 to 7 PM, and then Saturdays we could do, Saturday and Sunday, we could do a window 11 to 6 or 11 to 5.
The church okay with Sunday?
They actually use that.
They do.
Yeah,
I've
it gets
never
full
seen
down
one,
there.
but
That's why I say
I
that.
don't, yeah, I've never, I've always been able to park on the street when I go to church there, so I've never utilized that parking space.
so obviously if there's a conflict with the church that,
The church probably will say, take precedence. I'm on the
Yes.
bench.
but yeah, definitely it's to your benefit to get that
Put it
in this process
Okay.
now.
What were your hours again? I'm sorry.
So we'll say Friday, 3 to 7 PM. And then Saturdays and Sundays, 11 to 6.
Friday already got longer. It was 4 to 7 at first.
I know, and then I'm thinking, you're
Right, you better off
do,
doing
I
a
know, do
buffer.
wider gap, and then I can correct it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so from a zoning ordinance point of view, this fell under market gardens.
Well, I think not only the zoning, I mean, probably should get the okay from the church.
Yeah.
I mean, she's already got it from.
She's agent for the church.
Yeah, she's the agent for the church, but she's not the church. So she's here for she came for Wednesdays. So for Saturdays and Sundays, she really needs to have them say,
So will a letter suffice for that? Can
Yes.
she just get a
Make
letter?
make it part of the conditions.
Yeah.
That should be
Yeah,
easy.
so we'll list those added hours subject to approval from the church.
right. I mean, they could say Saturday's fine, but we don't want anything on Sunday. They may,
Yeah.
And I don't either, quite frankly, but I'm just putting it in there.
just a
Yeah,
copy.
yes, yes.
So somewhere in here, we've got the must have the letter from the church
Agent letter.
making you an agent.
So that's
Yes.
attached to the application. You guys don't normally see
Oh,
those
okay.
agent, those letters.
I'm just curious as to the wording on it. Okay, no.
I think that's not true. Right here.
Fire protection, so I mean, it's already an existing,
Someone drops a cigarette, the grass might burn.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that.
Also deemed it a non-smoking market, as well. I've asked people to go on the sidewalk to leave the market area just because there are children there. I just feel it's appropriate to be non-smoking food vendors.
So the next big one is the traffic impact analysis. And I know that we've been discussing this. So the executive summary states they estimate a potential of 200 to 300 attendees. I'd like to kind of get that clarified and nailed down at roughly at any what time, one time you're thinking you're gonna have 20 attendees or 10 or?
That's the rainy day.
Yeah, I mean, I put that on there and the initial is like throughout the whole, not at one time. That would be over the
Right.
course of 4 hours. People fluctuating through there, but like I said, we've only been just over a month and I haven't seen over 150. I've never seen more than probably 80 at a time, 100 maybe.
It hasn't appeared to me as I've driven by that it's overly packed.
Yeah.
No,
But it's
from what I've seen, seems pretty, pretty steady.
Steady.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
just
steady.
in and out people. That's,
I haven't really seen any issues with parking, I say that because I see that right out my window. It's just things I've observed, and I don't think the woman that's next to you is open on Wednesdays.
She is not, although I
So
did
that-
encourage her to open for her
that
to do
kind of
business, but it opens up her
Deviates like
spot.
some
Mhm.
space and doesn't sort of interfere with.
Yeah.
For
So,
business.
and so that may be true on Wednesdays and I just get concerned on Fridays, you know, especially when you've got the influx of traffic coming into town and, you know, doing the head.
It's
turn.
miserable getting on Main Street on the Fridays, that's and weekends, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially when Main Street's all back in, you're gonna back into the traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
You should probably encourage school, Church Street parking, which would be
Yeah.
better. But
Yeah, and maybe that is, you know, that, you know, a small sign thing, you know, market parking.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just caveat what you're saying. I would park your car on Church Street. You park by almost, what is it, almost out of season?
Mhm.
Of a big
always
vehicle.
in season.
Always in season. Your vehicle's big.
Mhm.
You can't see.
Mhm.
So you may want to either move yourself down by the old video store or park on Church Street. Just because it's, you know, nobody can see past your vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, I experience that all the time at Rubens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you just kind of back up.
If anyone parks in those four
Pops.
spots, I feel like
Go
no
for
one can
sound.
see. You have to pull way out to turn left.
Best.
So with regard to the traffic impact analysis, obviously, we're not going to require you to do a full in-depth study on traffic impact. But I think signage recommending parking down Church Street.
Okay.
And that would just be obviously temporary signage, right? That you just pop up there on the back of the car at the end of the day. Board agree with
Yep, it's fine.
where we're at so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Down to area system siting requirements, we've got a porta potty to address. I think, you know, on your 200 to 300 people, that one shot deal, one porta potty's fine. Weekends, you may find you might need a second if you're gonna get.
The porta potty company will guide you in how many people a potty can deal with, so they'll help you out, and that's twice as much to have two.
Sometimes you can negotiate a lower rate, though.
Just take a drill and put a hole in the.
Off-street parking, I think we discussed that.
Classy.
This goes on to state, if the town establishes a required mechanism, the applicant can contribute to a town fund for the maintenance and possible future development of additional downtown parking.
That's been a chat for ages, that area become an overflow parking lot, either for the community. What I've heard before is the town should say, we'll build a parking lot there for that space. What it used for the downtown people, and the church has it for Sunday because it's on their land, you know? But then it would be all paved.
Yeah. So we, from the parking point of view, we think we got this covered with,
We've been lucky enough to see it in action already,
you know,
and haven't seen an issue to even worry about.
site landscaping. It's a little bit out of your power on this particular lot.
It's grassed and stabilized,
The lighting, you're only operating during
daylight hours.
daylight hours. Do we need to qualify that somewhere?
Their hours of operation qualify it.
Well,
11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It doesn't normally get dark
Yeah.
at 3,
so.
even in the winter.
Even in the
In
winter.
mid-October at 7 PM on a Friday?
That would probably be dark.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would obviously not be able to do that during those months.
yeah, so under the days and hours of operation, maybe we can just kind of add that clarification, you know, during daylight hours and that way it'll fluctuate a little bit and
That's a good way to put it, actually, because it moves.
Yeah.
Because 5 o'clock would be bad in July, but not in October. You know,
That'll give her the freedom to adjust the hours, right?
as they see fit.
Stormwater drainage and erosion control. So here the Conservation Commission is concerned that the trampled grass will affect runoff. Did I get?
Bill Pond.
Yeah, well, I think maybe we should provide the Conservation Commission with a soil survey of what the soils are downtown. Because you're sitting on some of the best sand and gravel
It
there
sure
is right there.
Yeah.
And that water is not going to make it down the street to Mill Pond. So I feel bad that the Conservation Commission gets egg on their face for making a ridiculous statement like this. And I think the Board of Selectmen needs to reel them in. Take this with you. to show what they're doing.
I already considered that. I thought, as soon as I read it, we've piled snow there for years. We
Yeah.
piled.
And it
snow
has
there for
salt in
years,
it.
And it's got, yeah.
That's
God.
what my comment was gonna be, like, I didn't.
It's just hideous that
Bring
they
it to the,
even
I'll bring
say
it to the
that.
attention of the board.
So,
We have a member here. What
I
kind of,
was totally unaware of this.
oh, I was gonna say, what kind of conversation do they have?
Maybe we should
Did
say,
miss a meeting.
maybe we should ask for the minutes of their meeting on this topic. So we can see what type of conversations they're having,
Yeah.
because this is over and above.
And they're talking about tents. They're
They're the little pop-up tents.
right, that are there for the day, for the few
Yeah, I
hours, and then
know.
they come down. So I don't know why
They're worried about
they
trampling
keep talking
grass.
about tents, runoff, but they're there for 4 hours and then they come down.
so it sounds like the consensus of the planning board is that we will acknowledge receipt of the Conservation Commission's
And totally
comments
ignore it.
Thank
and
you.
they are duly noted and ignored.
Yes.
And Nick, they need to be spoken
I'll
to.
take care of it.
Thank you. Because I mean, this is something really nice for the town
Yeah,
to
I
get
agree.
things, and for them to make this statement, that just, if something big happens, they're gonna come out of their skin. You know, if their big project comes before them, they're not gonna be able to cope with it. They're gonna jump off a bridge.
All right, snow hazards and snow storage, not applicable. Hours of operation, I think we've
Mhm.
commented on that. We've amended that and amended it again. So I think we got that covered.
I think so.
All right. Utilities, again, it's really not applicable. I think down the road, the fire extinguisher, wow, where'd that come from?
It just fell out.
Extension cord, that's where it came from, extension cord. Obviously, as long as it's kept safe and protected and.
Not a trip hazard,
Right.
but don't disturb the ground.
So the signs, and the section 340C, kind of called out here for the temporary signs and banners, and as long as you are compliance with temporary signs, not permanent, should be fine. Departmental comments, assessing police, no concerns. Highway fire conservation had comments, and those were I think the parking and the traffic.
Correct.
I didn't see comments from fire and
They didn't, the only two that had comments, highway about observe the parking situations, and the illustrious Conservation Commission.
It does say highway, fire and conservation had comments.
But,
We didn't have those part of our
Deputy
packet.
Chief Turcott just said space be made available either permanently or readily accessible for emergency vehicle access. That was just an email that was in what you sent me. Which I have with the
Oh.
back behind the building.
Yeah, there's a
Yep,
way for them to get in
Yep,
there.
we got it right here. It
Oh,
is in the
here's that.
package. Yep.
Yeah, they tend to just respond to the email and not necessarily so much on the form,
Yeah,
which is fine.
okay. That's good. Okay. So definition of active and substantial development.
Show up on Wednesday afternoon. I mean, what else can you say? Really? think we have to overlook that one, I think.
I think so.
You'd have to put some type of threshold down, otherwise there's a potential of them being subjected to changes in regulations and ordinances within the next 5 years.
So so let's put down the first date of operation immediately following board approval.
Sounds good.
What was that?
Can we just?
The first date of operation immediately following board approval.
Can we just put met threshold? Would that satisfy it or?
Jessica says we need a kind of a date specific.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I don't know how we can do that. I just don't know how we can do that.
well, I mean, once it's all approved,
It's approved.
it's approved,
So-
and then the first Wednesday that you open up for business, that is the date of substantial.
So if tomorrow's raining, it'll have to be next week.
So
It's not gonna
could
be so-
also, you
Nice
could
to
also
check.
do
Oh, good. You're safe.
your two thresholds could also include submission of the, final plans.
Okay,
You guys have done that before.
yeah, then,
You kind of had sort of at a loss for. what
yeah,
you
that
put down
works.
for
Submission of the
threshold.
final plan. I like it.
That's a little
Nice job,
cleaner
Jess.
than this.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna take that back.
Oh, perfect. All right. I think the board should do a site walk at about 3:30 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I go there Wednesdays for Italian ice.
For smoothies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were hitting the Italian ice on Wednesday last week.
Okay, so anybody from public want to speak to this? No, you're all good? Close the public session. No, I will entertain a motion.
Can I make a motion that we approve case number P3-19 for Christy Panchad, agent for the Community Church of Walton, the market on Main,
With conditions,
with conditions precedent and subsequent.
which included, those all included all the modified hours and all that stuff too, right?
Yes.
And the agent letter from confirmation from the church for the extra days.
Yeah, I think that got added in as a
Did get added
condition.
in.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, crickets. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Christie.
Thanks.
See you tomorrow.
Good luck.
In the sunshine, wear sunblock.
Gonna be as humid tomorrow.
It's not supposed to be.
It's supposed to be a nice day.
Last night,
That's humid.
it
was
was
nasty.
awful last night. You went outside, you almost couldn't breathe.
Miserable.
Rocks underwater.
Probably way underwater, right?
A foot underwater, yeah. I got barrels full of water on it.
On the-
Keep it down.
One time I lived up on the lake up there and we had ducks. We had a spring flood.
Yeah.
I was pulling everybody's dock up on top of mine to help keep mine down.
Yeah.
Cause theirs was floating. around the
Everybody,
cove.
I'm on half of them. Everybody, they're all underwater.
Yeah.
A ton. We had like 5. I think it's 5.
All right, moving on to section 3.
Sunday. Oh, crazy.
People in my subdivision said one said they had 7 inches and the other one said they had 8 inches in 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Bad.
I've seen the rain. Never seen.
All right, so we have conceptual consultation, case P 23-16, Maxim North America Incorporated, agent for Green Oak Realty Development. Storage and distribution site to service quarry and construction operations used in the blasting of rock.
Evening, everybody on the board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Keith Babb, this is Steve Nicky from Maxim.
Yep, do it right into the microphones, so it's all official.
Keith Babb, Green Oaks Realty and Development.
Steve Nicky with Maxim North America.
All right,
Thank you for your
thank you.
time, guys.
It's good to be back in the hot seat.
We missed you.
I missed you guys too, you know.
Bet you wish you were putting out gravel now, huh?
Well, it's a little dilemma.
So this is just the conceptual, non-binding site review. Or consultation, I should say. So let's start off, if you would just walk us through what you're doing, why you're doing it.
Yeah, Maxim North America, we've operated in New Hampshire for over 10 years in distributing explosives and servicing quarries. We found that our customer base is moving south, southern New England more and more. So due to cost and other market factors, we felt it better if we look for a place a little farther south. So this idea came up, our opportunity came up in discussions with Mr. Babb. Maxim North America is a manufacturer of explosives. We make and sell just about all kinds. What we service in New England is primarily quarrying, explosives used in blasting rock, whether it's a construction project for a foundation or in a quarry like Mr. Babb's pit there. So our scope of operations is mainly bulk, and what we currently do in Groton and what we would do in Alton if approved is service our quarries primarily. So we'd be offering bulk customers our bulk product to our customers, not so much a retail setting. So we have enough storage for products that get used in that process to blast the rock in a quarry, which is, detonators and high X and blasting agent, all those things. So we would have a limited stock on hand, but not really warehousing anything. We would seek to, normally what we do is 3 to 4 shots per week. A shot is when we go out to a quarry and shoot rock. So we would have enough stock for a week or 2 weeks. Primarily all that product would come down from our main site, and we would stock what they needed for the next week's projected usage.
So you're actually not only manufacturing, but you are doing the blasting as well.
We don't do any blasting. All we are is supplying the product. So we work with the blasting companies in New Hampshire. They order the product. We provide an operator and a truck and the product for them to shoot the rock in the quarry.
So do they come to you and pick up what
So
they
all-
need, or do you deliver to them?
All of our stuff is project oriented. It's real similar to construction. They'll order the product to go to a specific quarry, like in Bow or his quarry or some of the other ones that we do, but everything's outbound. We go to them.
So you'll be transporting the explosives in and out of his pit and up and down that highway.
Correct.
And
So,
go ahead.
one thing I saw was silos.
So we mainly do a bulk product. So we would have a silo with ammonium nitrate, which is this fertilizer product that any ag dealer would have.
Think of the Oklahoma bombing.
That's the
stuff. AN.
And then we would also have a silo with a blended product that's manufactured from a facility over in Ogdenburg. It's basically the same thing in a liquid form. It's non-explosive until it goes through a machine and gets put in the ground. But they're very similar. One's a bulk, kind of the consistency of a pudding, and one's just a dry prill. So very similar to a fertilizer type product. So
But
and those are
isn't
stored.
ammonium nitrate all by itself, isn't that highly explosive?
No, ammonium nitrate has to have something else too.
As well as dynamite.
It needs a rental van.
Not helping.
So everything you're gonna store on site will be enough to make explosives on site.
don't
Everything
make
that's,
anything.
I understand that, but everything that's there is everything that's required to make explosives.
To do a blast, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is just you're gonna just keep it here, storage, so you're not blowing anything up there on the site, right? Yeah.
But we not where the magazines would be, but we could do a blast in in Keith's Pit.
In the pit? Okay,
Yeah, there's plenty of room there. so.
okay.
I mean, we're a highly regulated industry. I mean, in addition to, the town approval and going through the planning process and that, we're regulated by the ATF. They're the ones that dictate how much product can be on site and how it's stored. We're regulated by the state. We have to be licensed, have been licensed for 10 years. The state police bomb squad comes out and inspects our magazines and storage and security prior to issuing us a permit. So we are highly regulated. They're dangerous products. We know that. The way products are moved this day and age are a lot different than it used to be 10, 15 years ago. Products are compartmentalized. They're products like our bulk product that when you put it in the truck, it moves down the road as a 5.1 oxidizer. It doesn't move as an explosive product. The product is made so that it goes through the process and squeezed, and we add, some chemicals to it, and it rises in the ground, and then it will blast. So, but it's very safer moving down the road. I mean, nothing's ever completely safe these days. But
Probably more dangerous stuff in a UPS truck.
well, you'd be surprised what UPS moves around these
No.
days. So we can actually send some of our products through UPS.
So you'll be moving these products to other sites to do blasting and quarries and also doing some blasting on the site there?
If he orders it, yeah, he keeps.
No, I'm just asking, yeah.
Yeah, no, yes,
Curious, yep.
yes, yeah, we do southern New England, southern New Hampshire, we go as far north as Waterford. Lebanon, mainly what we'll do from this side, again, we're talking about mainly just distribution. We need a space to service our customers, so we're not quite so far away. When you move explosives, you have a whole nother set of rules when you're going down the highway, so you can only be so far away. They can only go out, they have to come back the same day. So we would have a full-time site manager. It's also responsible for inventory control. And one driver to start with, maybe two in season, depending on what we were doing. So, I mean, we're experienced doing it. We follow the rules. We've never had a problem with our licensing. We're licensed in many parts of the world. And we follow the rules. So we do realize, and I'm not trying to kid anybody, it's a dangerous product, like many things are that moved up and down the road. Gasoline that you put in your car.
But gasoline I understand what you're saying.
No, it's highly flammable. In most cases, we protect what you can. I mean, can you protect everything? You can try, but there's always weird stuff that happens these days. I mean, the biggest change for us is that they require compartmentalization now. So you have a specific area in your truck where each of the different types of products would go. So, and they're separate. So, but it is, I don't kid anybody. It can be a dangerous product, but you have to know what you're doing. So that's why you have to follow the rules. So.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes.
So you referred to the state and then the state bomb squad. When you refer to the state, is that the Department of Safety?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know how many times you've had the privilege of coming before a planning board to do this.
This is my first time.
All right, good.
Newbie.
So I think we're all newbies at this too. It's kind of, this is a little bit from left field for us in the town of Alton.
Yep.
I clearly with my comment about, ammonium nitrate, I don't understand the process anywhere near where I thought I might have.
It's a fair question.
I read too many spine.
I know, it's a fair question. We all watched lots of everything's on public is TV now, so there's a video of everything. So no, that's a fair question.
So I guess my thought is that the board could use some outside professional consultation just to make sure that we know what we're getting into.
Mhm.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that, but
That's my recommendation to the board. I even wrote that as my recommendation.
Excellent. Well, good idea then. Glad I had your idea. But I think that would be a smart move as part of the process, is to have a third party kind of look at the whole thing. I know the police department had made comments about the upping security as well, and I don't know how you go about that.
Well, it's about as secure as you can make it. These steel magazines are 1/4 inch steel and they have double hooded high security locks on them. They don't really tell us and they being the ATF, that we have to have it fenced. We have to control vehicle access because everything inside is locked already. So we have some sites around the country that we have video surveillance. And it varies depending on the jurisdiction. So-
There's no 24-hour surveillance on the site that you're proposing right now. There wouldn't be.
we would do what would be required. So there's not a requirement as far as our regulators are concerned. It would be a requirement that you could say, or the police department in conversations that, you can make your own, that we would either agree to or not agree to. So we don't, most of our site in Bowden, these are typically, there's nobody around. I mean, we don't have video surveillance in Maine. We don't have it in Groton. It's never been required to have it. So it's, everything's double and triple locked, and we have 2 or 3 vehicle gates that we control. So
So would there be more gates? Because right now you just have the single gate, right?
yeah, we would need
Have an interior gate as well?
Do, because I shut the interior of the pit off during snowmobile season because I allow the snowmobile.
Oh, yeah.
Personally.
Yep.
And then we could put a third gate up by their area. Because that's actually relatively easily sectioned off.
Yep.
Where we're frozen on putting the trailers and the
I was trying to figure that out on the plan. So where are you trying to put the trailers? On which
So,
side?
if you come in the pit.
Yeah.
And you go up the hill,
Yep.
if you go all the way down beyond the pond that SUR dug in there a million years ago.
Yep.
There's a little area back in there that's kind of naturally bermed and everything already.
I think I know what you're talking about in there.
Kind of by the tree stand.
Yeah, where the old tree stand
Yep.
was there for the deer, the heated tree stand.
there's a couple obvious places to control access going into that little back area there or coming up the hill. There's a
How
couple
close are
places
those they're not close to the snowmobile trails, are they? Where that is?
where the snowmobile trail-
That's
No,
out
the
in the front.
snowmobile trail all the way down front.
All the way down the front, so it doesn't loop down the side
Doesn't
there.
even come
No,
into the
he,
pit.
he comes into that first logging access road on the Manx.
Yeah.
And they turn right there and the sled trail goes across. That's why we put the interior gate up at the culvert. We basically blocked it off where they can't get around the culvert. Just keep the sled traffic out of there. It's curious on where the road goes.
Been a few up there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So.
So basically, I mean, you must know Steve from, he's bought product or something. I mean, how did you guys come together?
Go ahead.
So I've known them from all the way back, Green Mountain,
Yeah.
Maxim. So, I mean, we've done work with these guys for the last 23 years.
I mean, because what I see, I mean, you could put your whole business on a 1 acre lot.
It would fit, but we wouldn't be able to meet any of the distances.
Site distance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For the safety.
Yeah, part of our process with the ATF is we have to provide them a diagram of what the closest structures are, the closest dwellings are. And, with the closest dwellings is 1,500 feet, that allows you a certain level of storage up to, and not exceeding. So it's based on where everything's located. A full site diagram is done for the ATF. And then the agents come up and look at it and, give us the approval or fix this or fix that. So, the site that we need is really more just a working site. It's more vehicle storage, and a place to get us in range of some of our customers in the Boston area and be closer to Bow and some of the other quarries that we do on this end of the state. One of the problems that we have is the property we had in Groton is very large, like 3,500 acres, and it's on top of a mountain, literally. So everywhere we go operationally, we add 2 or 3 hours to our workday, and we only have a certain number to start with, with explosives. You have to follow the DOT rules, so we can only be out 14 hours a day. We can only drive 10 of it. So we have lots and lots of regulations. So,
Like a pilot.
yeah.
They get a big raise.
What about like conservation? You heard us comment about them earlier. With these overhead silos, do you run into pushback from DES and all that?
We haven't. I mean, you have to have a pad to put it in, but again, these products are products that people put on their fields for the most part. So, I mean, you mitigate, you protect for spills. We have a spill kit on site, and we have protocols in place to control those deliveries, but they're bin deliveries. So you actually have a device that goes down in the tank, so it's pretty controlled. So, but no, to answer your question, we haven't had any trouble with them. So
you actually drive the vehicle under the silo to do the filling?
Yeah.
Perhaps that scale on this photograph just throws me off a little bit.
Which one are you looking at, sir? I don't know who came up with that one. So I think that came from Aaron. Maybe that's
That's
Aaron,
what the.
yeah,
photos
that's a
came from.
new silo that is in our Georgia facility, I think. Our silos are quite a bit bigger than that. So
How big is that?
50 ton.
50 ton?
Yeah.
Because with the proximity to wetlands,
Yeah, enough to fill 2 trucks, so the trucks generally hold up to 30,000 pounds. So
and then what about refilling the silo?
filled by a tanker, double conical trailer that would come from our plant in Ogdensburg. So 40,000, regular tractor
Total.
trailer.
Pump, so it has to pump it up into the silo.
Yes. I mean, the emulsion is pumped, the AN is blown normally, so if we
Okay.
were able to find a pneumatic trailer, it's hard to find one. We do have a bucket elevator on it, but we try not to use it.
Yeah, I think that would lend to better chance of spillage and with the conveyor type approach to filling.
Yep.
I just get concerned because of the proximity to wetlands. It's because this place is surrounded.
There's a silo for emulsion and a silo for AN. They're
Right, so
hooked together.
AN being a dry product.
Yeah.
Which you just sweep up. Emulsion being the liquid.
Employee facility,
Sure.
employee facility.
We have to have some type of facility for the man, the dryer, bathroom. At some point, we'd probably have a temporary office, a job trailer.
So you
Usually
just have a portable toilet, is that?
a porta potty, yeah.
Yeah, there's already one in the pit.
So how many trucks do you foresee coming and going during the course of a day?
To start off, we would have 3 trucks there. We would probably have 1 truck moving every day, so we'd have 1 in and out each day. There'd be exceptions. Occasionally, we'd have a 2 truck delivery. Where a customer would order the both liquid product and the AN dry.
On the liquid product, do you put that in a bunker that would, like 110% of the product? So if there
Containment
was a spill,
type pad?
yeah. container
We
bucket.
don't have we don't have a requirement for that where we're at now.
Okay.
Yeah, I suspect you're gonna get a little pushback perhaps from conservation. I mean, you should anticipate that. Especially with regard to like a containment pad, like you talked about. I think it's probably just a smart idea, no matter how you look at it. To,
How many gallons would you, of liquid product would be on site?
It's in pounds, so
Okay.
it would be.
50 pounds per gallon. I can do the math.
How many pounds per gallon?
Yeah,
Well, it's a pounds. I only know it by pounds. So we would, any one time, we probably have 40,000 pounds. A tanker load is what you can put in a tanker. So we usually keep track of it by pound and sell it by pound.
what's the specific gravity?
The primary product that we use is like 14. It's 14 pounds per gallon, whereas water is
So it's
like.
quite heavy.
It's heavy,
8.33.
very heavy.
So it'll sink.
Well, it's heavy, yeah, heavier. It sinks into the bottom of the hole. That's the design for it. But there's two different products that are used in the market now, and without getting into too much detail, one is the heavier product that doesn't gas, so. The most common now is a gassing product that's lighter, probably like around, the density's like around. It probably 11 or 12 pounds per gallon. So it's lighter, but it's designed to rise and use less product. So anyway, we're trying to get an idea of what we need to do to move forward. So most of these products are going to be in the quarry anyway, because if he does a blast, that's exactly what he's using.
Yeah, but he's not gonna have that much of it. That's a lot.
Approximately 20,000 pounds per shot in that pit.
Yeah, but how long does it take you from the time you get the delivery for the materials you need till the time you blast? How long is that stuff
Same
on
day.
site?
Same day.
So you're talking about keeping it on there 365 days a year, that amount.
Well, a amount. So I mean, the amounts fluctuate. with
Of course, they're
what-
gonna fluctuate, but you gotta go by off of max amount. You gotta, this is what it could be.
Yeah, we need, you're correct, sir. We need some storage. So, I mean, in order for us to be able to do the work that we do, we have to be able to service 3 to 4 quarries a week. So. They don't all do 20,000 pounds. Some do 15, some do 30. It really depends on the job that they're doing or what they're blasting in the quarry. So the bow stuff tends to be big, and the smaller, there's quarries that are much smaller than that, down to 10, 5 even. So, and then we still do quite a bit of construction work. Anytime you build something in this state, same as in Maine, you
Ledge
got to
everywhere.
blast for a foundation. So it's a necessary evil to start with that. So
There's no dynamite sticks as we know it used.
they're still available. You don't use it in quarry operations now. They typically use a downhole booster. So you use a booster in the bottom, which is a specific product that still has PETN in it, still has the dynamite component in it, but it's cast and it's made to go in the hole in a quarry. So the detonator goes in and then comes back out the bottom, goes all the way to the bottom of the hole. So most of the products that would come out of a site in Alton or out of our Groton site are designed for quarry operations. They're pretty specific. So do we still sell dynamite? The construction guys use it all the time. They use it every day. So we sell it, but generally they come and pick it up. Some of the bigger companies we do deliveries to. They run their own magazine sites down on Hathaway down south in Fremont. He has his own magazines. There's 2 or 3 around that use them that way. So.
But you're not proposing to sell or to stockpile any of that on this site?
I didn't mean to imply that we would stockpile and sell out of there. All that would come out of our main facility, all of our packaged products in Maine. So all we would really do would keep the boosters and enough detonators to run a week time or a 2-week time, whatever we're allowed. And that would be done on a supply run from our main. And so we also have a facility in New York that we do the same thing. Keep small stocks there just so we can mainly service our quarry customers.
Right, and I know you got your DOT driveway permit all sorted out again.
Yep.
And this will not conflict with those approvals. I don't remember any specifics on it at
I
all.
think you approved 100 truck trips a day
Okay,
for the pit. So he's talking about adding 4 to 6.
yeah. Yeah, good,
Minuscule in the big picture of the original approval. Pit operation.
okay. And then at one point, was there the contractor's yard? What do we?
That's been approved.
So, So this would be, I think that the code enforcement officer was looking at this as a, how did you phrase it?
Warehousing.
Warehousing, yeah.
Yeah, we looked over that
So,
several times.
It's four basically containers and a couple of silos. There's no structure, there's no building. I mean, there's concrete pad that's 320 square feet for the silo.
Yep, I did actually talk to town council regarding this as well. Just try to prepare for tonight. And he also agrees that this type of operation would fit somewhat under the warehouse
storage
definition.
of farm products, furniture, household goods, or other commercial goods of any nature for later distribution to wholesalers and retailers, includes cold storage. Does not include terminal facilities for handling freight.
Right, so it's a facility that's storing goods of any nature for later distribution.
Yeah.
If you wanna pull words out of that definition, that's pretty much what they're doing.
So what does that mean?
So they would just qualify under the warehouse use.
So but being in the rural zone, they've
Yep.
got to go for an exception.
Needs a special
So
exception.
doesn't the contractor yard cover that? Because it's the same as me bringing in sand and reselling it.
So I think that fell under the, the definition of a contractor's yard was one specific thing, and this appears to, according to town council.
Well, ironically, this is ancillary to, you know what I mean, my operation anyway. Even if I had my own blasting license, I would be requesting magazines ancillary to my actual blasting activities within that pit.
That would be if you were selling that product. Like if that was your business, would be ancillary to you being
If I was
the contract.
blasting, you know what I mean? I would still have the right to have the magazines within the pit.
Yeah, so if he was licensed to do all the blasting
Myself.
himself, then he would be storing the product on site.
Right,
Have limited approvals for actually doing the blasting, right? I mean, didn't we say it was like twice a year, 3 times a year?
Three, I think.
It was 4 or 5.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly.
Well, the other thing, I'm a contractor yard. I mean, you don't tell Jedry, well, you can sell stone, but you can't sell this, you can't sell that. He's a contractor yard.
Yeah,
Bring materials in and you sell them.
well, I mean,
We really got to dig into this farther. That is not even close to a comparison. That's not even close.
Talk about
No, you're talking about explosives, Roger, versus gravel. That's a big
yeah, it's a
difference.
highly
Huge
regulated
difference.
industry.
He's wicked. He has so many regulations to conform to. I would love to, I mean, I'm sure we'd love to be able to give you some guidance, but we have never done this before. I'm sure this part, right? We got to get some more information on this, right?
I think the primary thing is determine whether or not that you're gonna, make us get a special exception for this or.
so it needs a special exception.
So,
that's
so,
fine.
The code official made the determination,
Okay.
and I guess it was supported by town council as well.
correct?
So. Is it feasible? Yeah, I think it's feasible. Absolutely. It's just a lot we still have to learn. And that's why, I agree with Jessica, the professional review, getting a third party. I think the planning board needs to have a better understanding of the chemicals, the potentials of, spills, whether it be a dry good or a liquid good, the consequences of that. Conservation is
Would it
going
be
to want
possible
to
to
know
have
that too.
someone from the ATF come?
We're gonna be happy to arrange whatever you guys think you need, so. If I need to have an ATF guy come up, I mean, we're interested in working with you, but I know as a company, we make every effort to. Get everybody to agree. I mean, it does, just be quite honest with you, it doesn't always work, so, I mean, we've gone. All through this process, I wasn't personally involved in it, but we had a site approved by the planning board in Henniker, and like one of the last steps we had. One of the townspeople raised their hand and said, I don't want it in my backyard, so. Didn't matter whether we already had $100,000 tied up into it. I can understand you guys wanting to protect your families and your you know, your areas and all that part of it. I get it. So, but we would do whatever we need to do to make you guys feel comfortable with how we do business. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a dangerous product. There's no doubt about that. But we may be able to convince you that we know how to do it because we've done it for 130 years. So that would be what we would try to convince you of. And I don't know if convince is the right word. I'm a new guy. I have no idea. So, but I mean, we certainly can arrange. I just want to make sure that I understood what you need from us. If you're not going to say you're crazy, this is never going to get approved here. Which is what an option, you know, no is always an answer that somebody gives you sometimes. But if we don't get that, then I will make sure that we provide you the information you need to all feel comfortable about what we're doing. So I don't know what that is. So you have to tell me.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess first I want to address the, you know, are you crazy for even coming here? And I think I want to just, you know, kind of go around the table. I mean, I don't think they're crazy. I think that's a very feasible, reasonable request. Just we need more information. I don't know about you guys.
Seems
but-
like the adequate place for it, because like I said, you know.
It's the perfect
I
place.
think, I think you could do it, I think you could do it on an acre. They said, well, no, I need that space and.
I can do it on an acre. I just got to have 20 acres
He has
all
to have
around.
the extra land.
It's a little more than 20 acres.
And along with, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Quarter of
he
a
has-
mile. Yeah.
Has these things in other places, so we could use maybe their planning boards. I mean, because they've already been through the process.
And we could talk to a town that he has a facility in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, that's what I'm saying. You
if
know.
he didn't blow up the neighborhood, well, that's a good start.
Oh, Where we're at now, we had to get town approval from 5 different entities, so I'm sure we can arrange Alexandria, Groton, all those towns that are come together right on our property up on top of the mountains. If that's what will work, then Jessica, if you just give me some idea. of
Yeah, I kind of want to finish
Work
doing
for
the
you guys.
consensus going around the table, but Billy, your
Information
thoughts are,
is- I know we're already, that means
Concerns, but yeah,
We're-
I mean,
warehousing,
I wanna
that
know
means we
more
need a
about it.
major site review anyway.
right.
I don't think
Just
it
want
would
to hear what,
be
Oh, I'm sorry.
appropriate before we knew what was going on to slam the door in his face.
I agree. So.
Yep.
Your gut,
I'm not 100% sold on it. Obviously, more information is needed.
yeah.
I agree, more information.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus. I think more information, but it's not out of the question.
No.
So, I kind of like the idea of maybe some specialists within the ATF. We know that's a massive group. So,
Yeah, good luck.
yeah, so I'm not concerned about the guys who deal with the tobacco,
They
you know.
came up last week and it was 5 guys and every one of them had their own car. They didn't turn them off the whole time they were there, so.
But I'd like to get a little more information. The other thing that I think would be helpful is having a real clear idea of, I think somebody tried to put together this package with the photographs, which is great, but obviously the silo is not the silo you're talking about. So
No.
I think having a better understanding of exactly what the equipment is that you're proposing for this particular application would be helpful. What, you know, you said 40,000 pounds.
50 ton.
50 ton, yeah. So, you know, having all of that really kind of clear information.
Are there any times that you dig these in, shall we say, so if there was an issue, it would mainly go up?
I've never heard of one going off. I mean, I haven't heard of digging in an AN because you have problems with, it's a prill dry, the same stuff that goes to the ag guys.
It's like a flaky.
Yeah, it's like a flaky, kind of a soapy type of feel, but it gets bad cake. So you use it quickly and you avoid long-term storage. So anything that might create a little additional moisture is bad. So, I mean, the industry as a whole is getting away from it with the liquid products. So hopefully it continues going that direction. But I haven't ever had I haven't seen one where it was underground, even where they make it. Nutrient in Georgia, it's all above ground. So.
You don't have explosions until they mix anyway, correct?
It has to have, most explosives have to have something to start it. So, I mean, the main danger with explosives is fire. So, and is not, you know, exploding. So there are typically has to be a fire first. So with trucks, we are extra careful with, multiple fire extinguishers and services and the kinds of tires we run. But fire is the real risk. So, I mean, you can search the internet, just look in there, ANFO explosions. The biggest ones in the world were, and look up the one in Beirut. That was an AN explosion, or actually it was an ANFO explosion. So occasionally they have trucks, if they have accidents, they can have an explosion. But
So when you say that was that ANFO explosion?
ANFO is ammonium nitrate fuel mixed, which is usually the
Okay.
end product. So.
It's
All
Oklahoma
right.
City.
Are the vehicles grounded when you're doing the loading, unloading?
They're not required to be grounded.
What about the silo?
The silos are built in. I've never built one, so.
I'm just saying that the friction of the
Static.
product moving.
You're talking about static electricity.
Static, yeah. I don't know. I'd have to find out that.
So how much of this product that you're gonna be storing at this location, like, if it were, these would be questions we would get if it were to explode, how
He
much?
said 40,000 pounds.
So 40,000, but how much damage? I mean, how much, how much?
It depends.
I think
on-
that would be the
What's the
concern. to the
blast
public.
radius?
That would be the concern of
That's
the
a good
public. Like,
question.
what could it do? I mean,
Good
what-
question.
how much could,
I mean, you can look it up on the internet. I mean, I can't really specifically answer your question other than what I've seen because I've never been involved with one. In Africa or some of these other countries where they don't have any rules about driving.
Yeah.
They have accidents and they have accidents with explosives trucks, ours and other companies. And if they start on fire, it can reach a point where it can, detonate. So, or the example I'm thinking of, and I shouldn't probably be telling this, I'm like.
I know, you're really not
You're
selling
throwing
yourself
it.
here.
So anyway, so
Fire
it can
extinguisher,
happen,
I'm just
but
running.
I mean, you have the same problem with, 10,000 gallons of gasoline going down.
Well,
We're a
propane for
rural
that matter.
community.
You have a 10,000 gallon tank of propane. I mean, that's about as much of a bomb as you want to talk about.
Anything. So
And they go up and down the road every day.
there's hazardous products. move-
does Hannaford's have stored over there?
Oh, God, there's like 8 or 10 of them over there, 1,000 gallon ones. So, I mean,
So no, it's a good question. So
just curious,
you'd have to research a little bit. You can look, I don't want to show you any scary pictures because
the
I'm sure
type of
they're out
blast, I
there.
believe, would change with what the ceiling is, correct?
I'm sorry?
The type, how the blast would react is by how much ceiling is above you. If you have a low
Depends if it's
ceiling.
contained, it's like, we're putting product in the ground, to get it to blast rock. So you put it in you drill a hole and you put the product in there and then you cover it with stemming material to lock it up. And it's not really the explosion that moves the rock, it's the gas burning inside. It burns really fast. And that creates a gas and it blows the rock out. So if there's something containing the explosion, like your hand over a firecracker, if you leave your hand closed, it's going to blow all your fingers off probably. If you just set it in your hand and let it go off, you're probably going to get a burn and your ears are going to be ringing, but it's not going to blow your fingers off. So there's so many different possibilities that I couldn't really go over them all. So it's no different than, it's a risky product. I just, like the gentleman said, it's a risky product. You just have to, we know how to handle it. And it's a product that people have to have. I mean, you think about how many things start with a quarry operation. So, I mean, we know how to handle it. So we haven't had accidents like that. So we don't in this country usually. These types of things happen in Africa, South America, where there aren't any.
In the bed of a pickup truck.
Yeah, they don't have any rules down
The
there.
bed of the pickup truck's a perfect example. There's a million little portable magazines running around on the road that, you know what I mean, that are both owned by private blasters and big companies.
Yeah, it's a pickup truck with a little box in the back.
Main drill and
Again, it
blast
goes
is what
back-
comes to my
Oh,
mind.
big-
Had them on
that's right.
many of my sites.
The blasting caps and the boosters are in a different area in that box from the actual explosives. They're used in the ground. And then you've got, I don't know, you got what, Orica, Dyno Nobel.
They're all right here too. You guys don't realize it.
Austin,
There's
there's a
Templeton.
lot of blasting trucks going up and down them roads that you guys probably don't really think anything about. It's never come right.
There's a lot of quarries here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sand and
There's a
gravel
few.
kind of left the state a while ago.
Yeah.
Not much
Okay.
left for sand and gravel down here unless you get up around Ossipee now.
Truck it out.
And there's plenty
truck it
there.
out everywhere.
Yeah. All the little pits have closed up, you know what I mean? They've
Nothing
either-
left.
Yeah, they've either sold out or they've been pushed out, you know what I mean, for regulation. It's hard to be a mom and pop operator now.
So board have any more questions or concerns? Do you guys have any for us?
So essentially, just recap this then. You are saying that we do need to basically get in front of zoning for a special exception.
Yes.
Would you prefer to do his meeting with the ATF people prior to us filling out the application for special exception?
We should think about that because I would not like to see them heavily invested if this thing all goes south. So, you know, I think maybe we could have a meeting with the ATF or someone, whoever he chose, just so we get a better feel of things, I guess. I don't know what.
Well, it
that's-
would still be consultation, which is fully non-binding.
Right.
And no matter what, it all stems on ZBA approval. So,
That's a different organization. or-
yeah,
That's a different board.
different board.
But I think essentially if planning board is relatively on board with the process, ZBA will be less of a hurdle.
It's important to note that I don't speak for the ATF. They call and talk, they answer the phone when I call them. So I'm sure that I can have somebody come and talk to you about the process and how they go about inspecting us and to make sure that we're safe. So.
Yeah, I think that would all be very helpful, but I'm thinking that step number one is make sure you can get the ZBA approval. And I think if they can get through that process, then they're coming to us. So,
So it requires a variance based on what? The product or?
The approved use for the land.
The land, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a special exception. So it's an allowed use, but the ZBA wants some sort of, oversight of
Input.
the operations and yeah.
He's
Which again would require a second board complete education because I'm sure they've never done this also.
no,
So
probably not.
would there be some way to kind of make this coincide with each other so that,
Well, that's
you know what I mean? So this could be done.
Joint
relatively-
informal
Right.
meeting.
So the ZBA doesn't
What
really,
idea.
they're not like an advisory board, kind of like the planning board has this conceptual consultation opportunity for applicants to come in and talk to the board and, sort things out. The ZBA doesn't function that way.
Right.
They don't have that opportunity to
But
But they're gonna have,
come in.
when I went to the ZBA, they basically recited almost all of the stuff that you were holding me to for the pit permit verbatim. You know what I mean? So I know what's gonna happen when we walk in there. They're gonna be pretty much, you know what I mean? Not so much blindsided, but completely unknowing of what this is.
Well, I
Because
think
like
this
you
one
said,
might be a little bit different. Because on that, that was like the cart after the horse. I mean, there was already problems, so that's why they were doing. This is a whole new entity.
yeah, but what they
So
did.
They have their 10 criteria that they go through. And that's how they decide whether or not you can not do it. Does that sound right, Jessica?
more or less.
Yes, but there's a lot of they get off lane pretty easily over there with regards to questions and regulations and curiosities.
We never do that.
That's why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but there's also a huge advantage to having these two completely separate boards and it really is, it's for the benefit of the town,
I don't disagree with that, but like I said, I mean, they're gonna ask a lot of the same questions.
Yeah,
that
they
you
are.
just did, and they're gonna have the same apprehension that you have, almost verbatim.
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I'm sure they will.
You know what I mean? And without them
It'd be nice if we could have a joint
seeking
meeting
their
somehow.
own, basically,
Informal.
consultation on it. You know, they're,
God.
Is that even, is that possible to do that? Is
So
that
the only
possible?
way that the boards can sit together and talk about an application without it being public is to have a consultation with town council.
Okay, let's invite him
and
That
ATF.
would be,
in ATF.
that
I don't know if that would
would
work.
be the only way that would be legal.
And we'll just advertise it as a work session between the two boards.
It's,
No,
it's
that-
just
that
a,
is
it's a
legal
consultation.
consultation.
Yeah, doesn't
Okay.
even need to be noticed.
And that's not a public session, so the
It's not.
public is not allowed here for that?
No, it's not. That's attorney-client information. I can
I
talk
kind of
to-
like the idea. I kind of like the idea.
Yeah, I like the.
You know, the ZBA, we have you know, a new building inspector, so, you know, he's gonna want to be on board with all of this.
I think
Um,
it would be a good thing to collaborate with all three entities.
Yes. No, it's a
So
great idea.
let me see what I can do
Awesome.
to get that facilitated.
So, I mean, and ideally, an ATF rep would be here as well.
Sure.
So there might be
No,
a
I
little
can, it's,
juggling on that end too.
they save us all time. I mean, if we can't all agree that it's doable, then
Would it make sense to have the state police bomb squad here for the?
I can see if Mr. Flynn or Officer Flynn wants to come, so it's.
Well, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
More experts.
information obviously to be had from the state police and the
Yep.
ATF, you know.
Yeah, I'll see kind of like what our parameters are as far as who, you know, who can be present, who can't, and, you know.
So Roger asked a good question. Conservation Commission?
I think they'll have a problem
As
because
far
they've already
as-
prejudged this applicant.
The
The previous-
Conservation
Well,
Commission
it's whether-
as the
I mean, are they anybody, I mean,
To join the party under,
okay, so would they be joining this discussion as the Conservation Commission as the Conservation Commission? Or would they be attending as an abutter?
no, it's
No.
for legal.
As a member,
So
Oh, a curveball.
there's, so all along, conservation hasn't been allowed to be in on meetings with town council because
They're
they
a butter.
were in a butter in that instance, not technically the commission themselves.
Well, I think the Conservation Commission has suitable egg on their face. I'll use this the situation we had on Sunday. If we had more aggregates in town, this thing would be fixed. These roads would be fixed much faster instead of driving to Pittsfield and almost Stratford. So I think this Conservation Commission has prejudged this applicant and we should run that by the attorney. Because what,
Okay,
if I may,
you,
so,
as a member of Conservation Commission, I don't think they need to be there because we're looking into safety issues and feasibility. So I think it's premature to ask Conservation to be there.
Right, and then I wouldn't even know sort of in what capacity would you be,
Well, right
you
now,
know,
I'd be here with planning and I wouldn't be representing
yeah,
Conservation.
right?
And I'm just saying my opinion as a member of the Conservation Commission. I don't think they would need to be part of that joint.
I agree.
okay, all right, so
Right.
we won't.
Yeah, I shouldn't really
Uh,
be speaking for the Conservation. Isn't
Yeah,
But- but
yeah.
I think
Well, at least
the
you're speaking. They never
complications of
speak.
them being in a butter is what really
I mean,
muddies the waters here,
if
and
we-
I think
If
so.
we decide to
I'd
progress,
forgotten all about that aspect of
Oh,
it.
I
and-
didn't.
Yeah, I know.
but I mean, we don't
So-
even know if we're going to progress yet. Let's wait
Yeah.
till we're going to, why add it for more
Hmm.
confrontation?
Okay. All right, so we'll see if we can
Okay.
make something happen. Good idea.
Just smooth the whole process.
well, let's just stop doing it.
To
15 times.
ZBAs, then coming here, knowing that you know, what I mean, ZBA is educated as to what's going on.
We can all go to the same school at the same time.
Efficiency.
Excellent.
All right,
All
we're
right.
gonna try to get an ATF representative and someone from the bomb squad, potentially.
Please let me know and I'll make the calls.
Yeah, that's gonna be a balancing act just to get all
Yeah.
together. That's why you make the big bucks.
Let me imagine what it is to get them this hard.
Yeah.
to-
And to get them here at night.
Um,
Curiosity,
right.
out of curiosity, of all the surrounding towns that you've done this with, what's the approval rating? How many towns shut it down? How many towns?
I've never done it before. I just, we had a site, we in like 05 through 09, we were in Auburn. down here where main drilling site is now, and there was some consolidation and apparently Maxim lost the deal at some point, so then they were searching for a spot. We had a spot picked out in Henniker and we had a spot picked out in Groton. Well, the Henniker was more ideal and we lost out on the Henniker and we got Groton, so I guess you could say we're 50-50.
I'm just thinking that we just set our meeting schedule. We all come here and then we're going to call in a bomb threat. And scratch that from the record.
Scratch it from the record.
All right. All right. So we all set?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time. I know you're busy, so
Thank you.
let me know, Jessica, my email, looking with.
Yeah, I'll let you know what the answer is on that. Yep.
Your evening.
Type of things take months to organize.
Not usually.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Very efficient,
I try.
a little too efficient.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Take care.
Can we take a little 5-minute recess? from-
Absolutely. Let's, yeah, it's 9 o'clock.
I have a shiny
Let's
spot on
take
my
a
nose.
brief
I need to
recess.
powder my nose. Oh,
So it's the hour hand on that clock that is not moving.
I'm gonna go down the back stairs, it's shorter.
I know, it's steep. So we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna go the other way. See what it's like. Oh. Legs.
Well, sorry.
Wrong switch. It's amazing that one switch turns all those lights off.
Hotel room.
All right, back on.
We're back on? Okay.
We're live?
So we are live, back in,
Memorex.
back in studio at 9:16 PM. Next item was under other business, old business discussion regarding the town engineer contracts.
Yes, so at our last meeting, you guys wanted me to start the RFP process. And to reach out to Ty and Bond to see if they would extend their contract for a few months. They came back, lack of better word, with a counter offer. So which I did pass it by Drew, and we both kind of agreed it was a good idea. So they've offered to extend their contract until the end of the year, which will coincide with the prices that Mike Vignali has provided. So his fees are up at the end of the year as well.
So they'll both be,
So they both
Fine.
would be up. And then that would kind of get us back on track to kind of having like a January to December contract
And you
instead of
be
mid-year.
rushed into something.
Yeah,
You have
so
time to
come,
prepare.
October-ish, I'll bring this back to the board. And we can discuss from there and start the RFP process at that point, and then
I think the only
hopefully
issue
be
is
in line by January.
money, right? I mean, either of them,
Yeah.
I think they do a fine job otherwise, but
Oh, I agree.
So
And I actually was thinking that the RFP process should start in September.
September, okay,
30 days, and then that gives us 30 days to
Again.
discuss it, and then.
Yep. because it's gonna get kind of busy with CIP and Zach and all that stuff
I know.
with public hearings. So the next question is, does the board want a sort of temporary contract from Ty and Bond?
I
From
think,
like now to December?
I think you should just do a little addendum to his original contract, say, we'll extend it to 12/31/23.
Okay,
I think that's the easiest way to do it.
easy enough.
And the terms and conditions of the existing stay in effect.
Yep, still binding.
Okay,
That would be like a paragraph.
Yep.
It's done.
Like a cover letter.
Right, exactly.
All right, so new business.
Yeah.
Nothing?
No.
Approval of meeting minutes.
I didn't see any problems.
I didn't see anything either.
Except I'm cold. God.
Sit over there. I
am
love that chair.
freezing.
We'll
Well,
switch places next time. I love that chair.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written for Tuesday, June 20th.
I
will second that.
Okay, go ahead.
Seconded by Nick. Discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Next item up, correspondences, so board to address a request dated 7/5/25 to amend the approval for case P 18-04.
Old Dean he changes his mind a lot.
so
He has that, what, 2,200 square foot building, I think that's approved or something like that.
that.
That backs up to
was,
28.
That was for the 3,600 square foot single story retail / office building. That's what this has to deal
And
with.
that backs up to 28 if,
Yeah.
you hit the circle, so to speak. Yeah, okay.
Um,
He just
so-
wants to extend it.
Yeah, so nope, well, a couple things. So he was approved January 15th, 2019, and the thresholds that were put in place at the time, the first threshold was the completion of the Ready Rock wall, and the second one was the completion of the building foundation. So we had a conversation, and due to, construction costs, the difficulty in it is to, trying to get the contractors in, things like that he's feels like, it's going to take a while. So it's going to take him past this vesting timeframe of 5 years. So he's asking the board to amend active in the substantial completion of improvements, number 2, to it also to be the completion of the Ready Rock Wall.
So so he wants to use the Ready Walk wall as a substantial improvement. Is that what you just said?
So the substantial development is already the wall,
Right.
and he wants that second one for substantial completion of improvements.
Okay, well, I'm a little confused on that statement.
So there's substantial development.
Yeah, and that's the Ready Walk wall.
That was the wall.
But you're saying originally it was the wall and the building.
Correct. So now he just wants it to be the wall and the wall.
The wall and the wall.
Yeah, what's the
So
second
the
wall?
2 thresholds. Okay,
Okay, he just wants the wall as the threshold,
correct.
in short.
Yes. And then that way he'll be vested from changes in the regulations and ordinance changes.
I don't think I have a problem. He spent a lot of money on that wall.
And he submitted a invoice. I don't know if I copied it and gave you guys a copy of it, but it's a lot. It's like
yeah.
$400,000.
That wall was a must, wasn't it?
Because he had a rubble wall.
Had a rubble wall.
He built this in front of the rubble wall, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he had a wall of height. It was just a rubble wall. It wasn't a wall.
It wasn't engineered.
Basically, he had to build that wall. That had nothing to do with the building.
Yeah, but he had to have that wall there in place in which to facilitate the project that he wanted to do.
Correct.
And those blocks are $150 a piece. I mean, go count them. There's a lot of them
Trying to envision where this is.
in the circle.
It's right.
Yeah.
Is that where that coffee shop is?
Yeah, right there. If you see the
Oh.
big concrete block
Oh, yeah.
wall, the 2x4 wall, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
this
Sorry about
building.
Yep.
Here's the wall and the building would sit right behind it, like 20 feet or so,
Oh, he hasn't built anything there yet.
just the wall.
He's just gonna-
And he wants to
So
use
that's where
that
he
as a
wants to put
subs,
it?
he wants to use that wall as a substantial improvement. So I don't think he needs to go through anymore, come to see us anymore.
So I guess my question would be, have there been any significant changes in the
Zoning.
ordinances that would affect
That's,
his
that-
current
I was gonna
approval?
go for that too, but I don't think we have, but I can't be sure.
So even if there were changes that have taken place, he's
He's
exempt
vested.
from those changes.
Right, until 2024. Right now. So if we say, no, we're not going to approve this, then he either has to get that building up
Or the slab in.
or slab in, some substantial commitment to that. Or if he doesn't, and his time lapses, then he has to come before us and we need to go back and review any of the changes to zoning that might affect it. So I guess what I was saying is, have there been any changes that to date that might affect it? That we should say, maybe we hold off. I'm playing devil's advocate,
Yeah.
so.
Well, that ran through my mind too. But I don't think I just can't picture anything that we've done that would prevent him from
I
doing
know,
what
in
he's
the last,
doing
in
again.
the last 4 years, I can't
Yeah,
rattle off all the changes that have taken place in any of the zoning ordinances that would affect him. I'm not sure, but
yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Well, here's the
So-
question. Did he come in for specific use?
No, retail office,
right.
yeah. Which is kind of the catch-all for those types of things.
And if this helps your decision any, I did pass this by town council to ensure that I was going to provide you with the proper information. And he agreed with the change as well. So no.
Okay.
Didn't have an issue with it.
I will move to accept the building of the block wall as vested in his project.
Okay, substantial completion of improvements.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, and then you guys are gonna have to vote for a second. So that's
But Nick
that.
just sent it.
I just seconded it.
Yeah, Nick said it. Sent it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'd vote that, and then there's a second part to this.
Okay, so we have motion from Scott, seconded from Nick. So any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. All right,
Okay, so then the second.
part two.
Yep, part two would be the start of construction. So he was requesting a 3-year extension to start construction.
If he's vested, does he need to?
So those are two different animals. The vesting in the project is different from when you have to start and complete construction. It's two separate things.
He's asking to push the construction out till 2027.
So that would be 3 years, because technically his
Goes through 24.
his time frame to start construction would have ended in January of 2024.
So
So
we,
he's asking 3 years.
January
out
of
from
27.
that.
he has to start
He
before.
has
By
to
January
start
27.
that. Yep, and then he would have the 24 months.
Or he can come back again like Bob
Yep.
Bear has done time and time and time again on his 2 buildings in his project there.
Yep. Oh, it's 12 months out. So start of construction is 27 and then 28.
Kicking it out a long ways.
Yeah.
Uh,
We allowed to make a motion to give him that 3 years? We're allowed to do that?
Yeah, you
We've
bet.
we've done it with Bob Bear for, I don't know, I bet it's gone on 8, 9 years or so.
This is the P.
Let's put it this way, he was alive then.
We did the same thing with Joe Spain.
So I
Right.
can just word it as, we continue it out 3 years till January 2027.
Right, Hunter?
Just want to make sure
I
I'm
was ready for dinner, I'll tell you that.
But the only question I have is
So
that
they were-
we gave them guys all
It's an ending
extensions
threshold.
of the economy,
Improvements.
Yep.
because nobody was
Yeah.
doing it.
Start
Yeah,
construction.
it's not that.
So then-
Now it's cost of money.
Yeah, so it-
Someone wanted me to say, I says, if you take a whole building, I says,
completion
I'll-
is complete
I'll
with a ready
do it.
wall.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start a building with a 7 or 8%, 9%.
Then the timeframe to
great.
start construction.
I have 5, then I had to change my.
Completion.
Okay.
So
We just say
I want to
amend,
change to that on the whole place.
read the whole thing.
No.
Mhm.
Dean Uzo.
Dean Puzo is Joe Bean LLC.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you go down to the bay and you look up on the hill, there's kind of a unique house up on the hill. That's his house.
okay.
He's a former defense contractor.
I was actually under the impression she was Joe Bean.
Yeah, I think you're right,
He owns that.
Yeah.
right?
Teresa.
Yeah, because the applicant agent was listed as Anthony Costello,
That's an attorney, isn't it?
BC Engineering Consulting.
Okay.
He owns all
So
that.
that's why when I saw that there was an email from Dean, I'm like, wait a minute, who's he? How does he fit in the picture? But he's an owner,
Yeah,
so he is authorized to make this request.
yes, he is. He's been here on several occasions.
I mean, my gut is 3 years is an awful long time to kick this thing out all the way to January of 27.
But
I mean, you could
what's
do
the
it,
problem with it, though?
you could
I
do
mean,
it 2 years and then if he's not ready, he could come back in again. That's. You do,
It's like, it's like open ended. When, why are we putting a limit on it at all? Just say, hey, whenever you get around to it.
Well.
So,
We don't
Um,
do that.
So if it expires after 2024, January.
He can come back and ask,
Start again.
no, he can come back and ask for another extension.
No, I bet I'm saying if he doesn't start the construction before January 2024, right? If we don't grant him the extension, he would have to,
He'll have to do something.
yeah,
okay.
But it's not uncommon for this board to grant extensions.
No, I
Just
understand
trying to
that.
get the, I'm just-
Yeah.
He's way ahead of the curve on the request.
Yeah, he's,
But yeah, so I mean, pleasure of the board, whatever.
well, we have the motion and seconded, so
Well, we haven't got a motion a second on this yet.
I thought we did.
no, that was the first part.
Oh, pardon me.
It's getting late.
I know, I'm hungry.
Me too. So I'll leave it to the board.
I'm sorry.
I have no problem with granting him three. I'll move to grant him 3-year extension.
Okay, so we have a motion. Second?
Second,
Second from over there?
yes,
Haven't heard from you all night.
that's because I'm hiding behind the.
I know.
All Jessica's folders.
Instead of proof, I'm still, want you to know I came back from the bathroom breaks.
Can't see Roger. I gotta keep peeking around.
All right, any further discussion? I think I voiced my concerns. I think it's pushing it out a long ways, but I also know the board does this, so. Any other discussion? Okay. Fine. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to oppose, just for the sake.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell you what I was laughing about. Remember in the beginning here, I was saying, well, isn't Lee coming tonight? I saw Lee, I saw Hills, it's High Grove, not Hillsgrove.
Oh, is that?
Well,
I'm looking at him going, oh, High Grove subdivision.
I did the same bloody thing, so. Because that's why I was sitting there going, yes, you did send something out. Yeah. All right.
Nope.
Nope. So next, item B, discussion regarding case P 06-57.
06, huh?
2006.
So I know I may have bombarded you with a long chronology of the High Grove subdivision. I felt it was warranted after I was asked if they could sell lots. And it wasn't an easy answer to come up with when I reviewed the file. So I thought it was best to go through the file, and I had found some things, some conditions that weren't met. There were issues back and forth throughout this whole process, but ultimately a plan was signed and recorded, again, without conditions being met. At that time, there apparently was some issues in the office. So I went through their notice of decision and captured all of the items that didn't get completed. Which I'm concerned that if they don't get completed, we could end up with another Ridge Road situation to where road's not done. Lots are all sold off to third parties, and then now no one's responsible for the road. So in my memo, there's a breakdown of 4 items that I feel should be held to the developer to have to complete. It's up to the board to help guide me to contact the property owner to let them know.
So the question is, are we dealing with the developer or the owner of the development?
So
That-
currently,
It's the same.
yeah, currently they still own the property.
Yep.
So and as far as I know, lots have not been sold yet.
No, they have not. I'm sure.
So is this like a bond issue?
There is.
So
There,
Well, that would be that security.
there is no
yeah,
bond, is
so
there?
Yeah,
there's
there's no security that's
Or-
on record.
4 issues. So an as-built plan was supposed to be submitted because there were many changes done throughout road construction. So an as-built plan was required, and that I haven't been able to locate one in the file. So whether one was submitted or not, I'm not entirely sure because I don't have a record of it. And I don't have a record of the town engineer reviewing said as-built plan. Security should be required to cover the cost of the top coat and any potential repairs to the road. And again, I'm just, I don't want to see new owners get stuck with a road with nothing in place to cover the costs to complete it. An escrow account should be set up for the town engineer to review the as-built plan, do a site walk. Complete his findings, provide a punch list of items that may need to be fixed. And there are supposed to be homeowners association documents for the subdivision. I did find an email in the file that states that town council approved the documents, but I don't see the documents in the file, nor when I looked online at NH Deeds, I was not able to find anything that ever got recorded. So those should be submitted and reviewed again by town council, just because there's nothing in the file unless the property owner can provide all of these items to say, I did all of these things and here's
Here's
the stuff. This is just stuff that I haven't found in the file. I say that several times just because there are other files that are missing important documentation around this time frame. So I want to state that lightly, that these things may have been done and
a lot of the stuff from that time frame got the old heave ho.
so I'm just I want to tread lightly on that. I don't want to
Say names.
accuse them that that these things are not done. I haven't been able to find them. And I feel like these items are very important to have in place in order to move forward. They haven't come in for final road approval as far as I could see. So it kind of hasn't been completed yet with the planning board.
So I'm in complete support of this. I think hitting these four main items and making sure that they can satisfy these, I think is the right way to go.
Absolutely.
Does the board need to vote on that?
I don't think so, because
They're
they're already
definitely
voted on by the board. They just haven't been done. The previous board,
Yes, to the best of our knowledge, they're not done.
yeah.
Right.
Need to be done, yes.
So if you could direct me to write a letter to the property owners, informing them of what I found and what's still required in their subdivision.
What's gonna
Consider
take time.
yourself so directed.
Okay.
You need a vote on that?
No, he's chairman. He
Yeah,
can-
I don't
he
think
can
so. It's just,
Do that.
I just wanted some guidance and some
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
of the board.
No,
I don't
I've
think
been through
it's-
that whole history on my phone and
It was mind boggling.
oh my God. Yeah, it was.
So you can see, like, once I started looking at stuff, I was like, there was some things I just didn't understand.
That's quite a chronology you put together.
It
there.
is.
I'll tell you, that must have taken you a minute or two.
I've been busy this month.
Correspondence for the board's information. I don't think we have any.
Nothing.
Any other business come before the board? Information update regarding short-term rental permitting process. That's a hot topic.
Yep, so I don't really want to get into a huge discussion on that. The short story is I've been working with the selectmen and our new code official coming up with an application for a permit, some regulations that will fall under the purview of the Board of Selectmen. We've created a permit and a checklist for the code official and the fire department to use. So now it's just a matter of the selectmen are reviewing that and we'll come up with a
You did a great
public
job. on it.
hearing
Yeah,
date
I think so.
at some point. A public hearing isn't required for the Board of Selectmen to approve their regulations, but we felt that just because of the nature of the use and
I was gonna
another
ask.
opportunity to get that out into the public so that they're aware that there's a permitting process that will be in place and that everyone's held that process.
And have the selectmen come up with an idea of how they're going to make this very well known throughout the town and
Yeah, so
Discussing
I
it.
did, yeah, I did ask that question. So we're gonna do it sort of, at a minimum, the usual places that we post notices, which is, in the office, at town hall, in the newspaper. It's gonna be online, on the town's website. I'm gonna
Social
share it with the Facebook page. We could put an ad out in the Baysider. And, share it with other town departments, have Facebook pages as well. And just really try to hone in on it, like at every meeting, just sort of a reminder.
What about the actual industries that are out there, like Airbnb specifically? Is there?
So there are many companies. I think the
Yes,
most
yeah.
popular ones are
Airbnb's like the.
Airbnb and like
It's the
Virgo,
Kleenex name.
and then you have, people that do it on their own, so. There's no one else to call other than the property owner.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna try to, get it out there as far and wide as we can.
Excellent.
So that's that. I do have something to add
Oh.
under this, any other business. It was something, Scott, you had made mention last night about, having sort of the year-round residents to sit on the committees.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I didn't say non-year round, but residents. That was
Yeah, the
Yep.
public.
the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you referring to, because the gentleman that you had mentioned is a seasonal person. So he doesn't live in Alton year round.
But that's true.
So I didn't know
So-
if you were referring to the
Well,
public.
well, good point. I guess, I think he's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, he's pretty sharp and so I would say public, I guess, at this point.
Yep. So I did look back because we did have a conversation about that back when the alternative housing committee started and we
Mhm.
started with that whole short-term rental discussion. And you guys did vote to allow non-resident taxpayers to serve on committees. So basically people that are not here year round.
Right.
can
Like I
sit
think
on
Mr.
committees.
Bobo was the reason for that,
Yeah.
because he's a
Yep.
seasonal resident.
Yeah, and the only issue I kind of had with that is if they're not around, now you're like, it skews the quorum numbers. Being a procedure person, that immediately comes to mind is, what do you do with a quorum when, when you know for sure? I'm
Well,
not
we didn't
gonna
have a
be here
quorum last
from-
night and we had to, so I mean.
you know,
Is there a way
Yeah.
for somebody like that? Are they, I mean, we do it with, with town council, stuff like that. Can they do Zoom meetings from wherever they may be? Is that allowed for them to do?
So we did Zoom meetings throughout COVID. and
Yeah,
the
but
Board of
then we had to have
Selectmen-
certain procedures and
Yeah,
read all kinds of stuff into
Oh,
the record and
Yeah,
all that.
they
jazz.
stopped.
Oh, I didn't know.
They
That's why I
stopped.
was-
Yeah,
the
it
meetings
was,
for the most part, except for Tara. She's kind of like a hang on to do Zoom.
oh, plus
Because
she
it was
lives in
written-
Vermont.
It was written in her, it was written in her contract. So it was, she's pretty much the only one that we really see
I
for
was just
Zoom.
curious.
I
didn't-
guess I don't
Yeah.
want to be worried about things like the quorum.
I know
we
you don't.
need- Yeah, I know. We need that input. We
Absolutely.
need that public input, whether they be seasonal or not.
Yeah.
It's just invaluable.
Right. And I agree with that. I
If
just,
we run into
yeah,
a snafu, we'll deal
Yeah.
with it.
A lot of the seasonal people feel a little bit shunned sometimes because can't be part of things.
Yeah.
And some of them are very big taxpayers and they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Can the committee, there's a curveball, can the committee make a determination that a quorum is a fixed number regardless of whether it's a majority or not? So if we have, like last night,
We had a quorum of who was here.
yeah, what did we have?
I think it was just
Four
us.
of the eight, right? So we didn't,
There's-
or something like that. So we couldn't meet the
Yeah.
quorum.
It's the four of us.
6.
Or three of the six. So we didn't meet the quorum, but if you had 9 people, we'll just say in the committee, that means 5 would have to be there. But can the committee say, we'll accept 4 as a quorum?
I think
Go
that
with
can be done, but you'd better ask the lawyer that.
Yeah, Wouldn't even know where to start. to look.
Because
I'd start with the lawyer.
let me give
Well,
you.
Yeah, but other than that.
Let me give
I-
you a situation,
Have to.
our timeshare that we have. Most of the associations have 25% participation in the vote for quorum.
Yeah.
Another one has 50%. So I'm, by that reason alone, I'm saying it's almost an abstract,
Yeah,
pull it out of the air.
that's what I was wondering. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then we can solve that problem by not being so dependent upon those seasonal participants that might not be there come November.
Right, and it being a committee, right? So the committee's not making the ultimate decision.
Right.
They're only
So
making
there could be some
recommendations.
leeway on a committee.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to
yes.
town council
Yeah, talk to him.
and see what's what, but
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I think it's great.
All right, I'll take one more motion.
So moved. Well, let's go home.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Have a nice ride.
Is it really?
Ah.
And let's hope we don't have 2 inches of rain tonight.
Hey, look at that.